sidestep bloke got him, somehow got rid of it. Comes back to Dersma from range, always was hanging out right.
Spoke a lot about Essendon's defence off the back of last week's performance, but they've been slick with their hands around the contest at the moment.
Get on with it, both you.
Yep. Against his old mob Xavier tonight. So Sin.
Play on.
Promising start from the Bombers in the first 15 minutes of this. Sin to Burgoyne. Rays, who his kick was pinpoint accuracy to Georgiades in that previous passage of play.
And this is good from the Bombers. Port want to play the fast game, overlap by hand, force them long down the line slow, you get a chance to win it back.
Berry's high long ball down the line. Soldo goes the fist, sat up for Wines, and his handball, not sure about that. They cough it up, coming through Merritt by hand to Gresham. Gresham's chip in the air towards Edwards. Takes it easily inside the arc. Kicked 3 goals on debut, Edwards. And is waiting for the cavalry to arrive.
Smart play. I mean, that's a half forward, a natural half forward, just creeping forward as soon as he sees the ball go into dispute. If the Bombers win it, well, you're 15 metres goal side unopposed. Clever running pattern.
The kicking right on the chalk here. Tom Edwards gives it everything. It's coming back slightly, but not enough.
Good sides again there at ground level. It was Merritt and Gresham that were involved. Clean hands. We were able to get that to that 1v-none.
Evans, stop-start, very short. Galea back in the side. 1-2 Evans. Oh, gee, that's a courageous hand pass. In the end game, straight to Menzies, going to hurt them the other way. Jones doesn't really get contact. Wines comes to the rescue and saves the blushes of Port Adelaide.
Not sure about that as a play. Yeah, more than 30 metres, 2v1 against you.
Stand straight back.
No damage done. Durham, Horn, Francis Knight battle that one. Shield. Lee just reads it so well off the boot and he marks in front of Tom Edwards.
But this is the game. The Bombers are doing this really well. They're giving their back six a chance to defend because they're denying Port Adelaide any speed out of their defensive half. We've seen them get through a couple of times, and Georgiades has been on the end of them.
Radigalia. Outside D50 he goes. Moraes has been busy and good early, the young man. Goes down the line. Good effort, Burn-Jones. And they keep moving as well. Here's Sin, happy to have a jog. Berry looking for Powell Pepper, just took a little bit too much time. Ridley grabbed him, did the 360, but the tackle wasn't completed. Powell Pepper to the top of the square. Rioli flies, then McGrath was caught. They go in, sweet. Horn Francis is hovering. Good work, Jones, to complete the tackle, and it's a stoppage.
Well, I think if you do the full 360, that's prior opportunity.
That was a 720 nearly.
Okay.
McGrath as well, pinned in his defensive 30. Trying to stream through now. Hobbs trying to lend a hand. Hobbs in there again.
Just seeing that last bit of play that Essendon were able to couldn't defend, and as soon as they gave up that switch, it was Paddy that was out of position.
Now Pepper comes through hard. Tries to do something miraculous from the pocket. Not quite for Sam.
Every little part of your defence is so important. Caddy off 5 metres, and all of a sudden goes the other end of the ground.
So here come the Bombers. Shield, one bounce, thinks about 2, almost caught. Long handball to Kako, had Sin all over him, and the umpire will want it. Quick movement off the back line from the Bombers.
And the forward handball is definitely a thing. I mean, more often than not, that's kicked inside 50 to give your forwards an opportunity.
Unopposed Brian taken off at Drew. Burn-Jones. Sin running through half back and then kicked towards half forward Rioli. This is clean from Port Adelaide. Who's inside forward 50? Berry's running back with the flight of the ball. Couldn't quite complete it. Mackay over the top. Took a little bit of time and coughed it up. Burn-Jones round the corner. He's glanced at left. Ridley's under a bit of pressure up against the boundary line. Was able to gather to Dersma. Back to Ridley. And then he composes himself and out wide. Heads in the Durham direction. Durham kept his footing and kept the mark. Shield blazing through the middle as he loves to do. Long penetrating ball in the Gresham direction. And then Aaliyah diffuses the situation. Came back to Hobbs. His little chip kick deflects off the body of Burgoyne and out.
So Burgoyne, the recipient, to Wines. Ping-ponging end-to-end at the moment. Boak sees something on the spread. Georgiades roaming far and wide. He's already kicked a couple. Horn Francis, dangerous wherever he is around the ground. He's a long kick of the football. He'd have to kick it from 52. Doesn't fancy it. There's options everywhere. And he goes short to Joe Berry.
It's good by Jason Horn-Francis there. Just the ability to slow the game down. You can get in these sort of games that go back and forth really fast. You can fall into the trap of thinking that you constantly have to go fast. It was just this moment here to steady, allow the options to get through. You can see Georgiades comes through and creates a little hole. Just the moment to slow down.
Wearing Dan Houston's old number, pick 15, which Port did get as part of the work to get Houston to Collingwood. Kicked a goal already in his career. For the extra distance, just hooked it a touch.
3 points in it. Former Lion. Pryor going for a run. He's looking for Dersma, but it was a sloppy handball. Drew was there. Then the handle took too long to get to Aaliyah, and he was taken over.
He's got to tidy up his execution. He's put him under a little bit of pressure. Down back is Pryor.
Hold the meter.
It's a fast game.
Throw in. Last year, Port beat Essendon 111-42, but the year before it was a lot closer than that. It was a 4-point game. Hobbs, Dersma, was he taken off it illegally? No, said the umpire. So it was Richards getting it to Rosie, who almost lost his pants in the process. Oh, great little sidestep there, and then kick towards half forward in the Georgiades direction, but too wide.
In these games here, when it's so fast, it generally goes straight as well. It takes somebody just to stop, prop, and actually use the angles, because that's where the numbers are a lot of the time, and also where the space is as well.
It's pretty warm in the coach's box for Brad Scott. Big tap down the opposition from Brian in towards Wines. Georgiades.
Yeah.
They've swapped Ridley onto him. It looks like King, and he's having a problem as well.
He's just so honest in his presentation to the ball. He's straight line and he's lightning quick out of the box. And again, it's only half a metre, but as a defender, you know you're done. You know that he's going to be able to maintain that speed into an uncontested mark. So in the end, Ridley's forced to do something. He grabs, umpire catches him. They've made the change, but nothing's changed.
3 in the semi-final. At home against the Hawks last season, Mitch Georgiades had an electric start. Can't convert. Would have been his third. A let-off for the Bombers.
In the area.
I reckon you've got to be brave if you're playing on Georgiades. Stand out in front of him on the corridor side. So force him to beat you at the boundary side. Do not let him get in front of you. We know he's quick.
Good.
Redmond's searching ball in the Draper direction, but coming through to fill the slot was Burgoyne. Burgoyne, nothing really presenting. Kicks to the tall timber in Sweet, and then Wines with the crumbing, snap towards goal. And diffusing it in the end was Pryor.
It's just like the Bomber defenders to be more physical as the ball's coming down. Take some space, play with some authority, and not just allow the Port forwards to lead and dictate terms as they have so far.
Redmond very short. Oh, too short to Ridley. They should get out of it. Back to Redmond. Squeezes the ball towards the wing. And Hobbs and the skipper have a bit of a discussion about whose footy it was.
Essendon to be wrapped with this to get to quarter time. Playing some pretty good footy. Their forward handball's really catching the Port Adelaide defence out of position.
7 disposals already for that man on screen. The rising star of the comp, Burgoyne. Horn Francis, here he is for number 8. Wedges it down towards Georgiades, who's unstoppable at the moment.
Same thing again. I mean, Ridley starts behind him. He gives him the first metre uninterrupted. At this level, it's very hard to recover against a player who has this speed. Farrell's drifting down. Lucky to get away with that one, the Bombers. But you'll just see in the back of screen there, you just can't recover. You've got to be more physical as the ball's in motion.
So Georgiades, for his fourth shot, his kick turn, just missed one. Putting the Bombers to the sword early. This from the longest range of the attempts he's had so far. Drifts out a touch to the right. It's coming. He's got 2 goals, 2. So what are the negatives of playing him in front? Why are they not playing him in front?
I think they'd be worried about getting at the back, but at the moment, you've just got to be brave as a defender. The reactionary, the Essendon key backs especially.
Nothing worse than when you know you're the mismatch. You haven't got the speed to go with him.
Along the wing, Bombers with some run here. Merritt's inboard kick. It's an interesting one. Bergman did well to get the spoil. Wines his handball, spoiled by Caddy. Ball still in dispute. Drew was ripped off at Shield. Going in hard. Merritt's handball. Martin, Gresham working with Martin. Just retreats, gives a little bit of ground. The kick's not bad towards Draper. He's got Kako there for help as well. Kako gets it, loves a run. Kick inside 50. Shoelaces of Jones, spat it out to Martin if he can pick it up. He's got pressure on him though. Mead comes in, tunnel handball, Rioli, and then out to Richards and out to Soldo, and they are out.
Good defensive work by Port. Jones keeps it in just. Sliding ball forward to Sweet. The overlap hand pass was too quick for the Bombers. Burn Jones will run towards attacking 50. Options. Coming back with a flight. Pride doesn't kill it. Here's Georgiades. Can he get up at his feet? Doesn't need to. Gives it to Boak. He is everywhere, Georgiades. And Port have kicked 2 in a row.
So exciting. Fast and furious on the outer wing out there. And as I said, Georgiades is the one. I mean, the location of the kick from Burn Jones was beautiful. Top of the goal square, forced the Bombers to commit in the air. Look at the overlap run was just terrific. Burn Jones involved early on, gets the kick, follows up, just putting McGrath to the sword there. He's gone, he's out of tickets. And look at the location of this kick. It just put the Bomber defenders in 2 minds, and Pryor again failed the test. And Georgiades was good enough to recover.
Talk about that referred pressure, and that's exactly what happens to Jackson Pryor there. He should be marking that ball, turning it over, and it should be an Essendon chance to take it to the other end of the ground. Goes a double-fisted spoil, and you never know where they're going to go. Great hands there by Georgiades as well. Clean at ground level.
Yeah, and they're into him. They're letting him know.
So Soldo wins it down to Wines, being held on to, but got the kick away. Free kick goes to Port Adelaide. No advantage paid Rioli.
Well, your numbers back. Got to hang on here for the Bombers. Get the ruckman in the hole.
Rioli, he's got further afield. Boak presenting an option, centering ball towards Georgiades, cut off by Gresham in dispute. Merritt tried to get it back to Gresham, goes himself to McGrath. Closing stages of the first term. Then McGrath's kick to space. It's a bouncing ball. Farrell and Caddy come in. Farrell's the first there. Caddy wins the football, then dumps it on the boot, progresses it forward, but it's no one in particular and out of play.
Georgiades has got a couple for the term. Essendon fans are encouraged by what they've seen though. Quarter time here at Marvel Stadium. Port lead at 3-5-23, Essendon 2-5-17. Georgiades kicked 2 goals too. So much footy coming your way on Fox across the entire week. You've got Gary and Jared dominating AFL 360. You've got the coaches on, all the big names. And then straight after that, oh, have a look at this. Jack Riewoldt on the couch with Lee Matthews joining. Looking forward to that Monday night on Fox.
All right, folks, welcome in. It is Thursday night football here again. Action time. We got the Essendon Bombers taking on Port Adelaide. There we go, the Bombers. Well, they missed a beat early. Port Adelaide got off to a bit of a flyer, but the Bombers hit back hard with a couple of goals. And, of course, Port Adelaide stemming the tide, kicking back the final goal. 3-5-23, the Port Adelaide Power. The Essendon Bombers, 2-5-17. Beautiful night down there at Marvel Stadium where they're playing. 18 degrees there in Melbourne. Just want to check in some of the ins and outs for the folks out there because we didn't quite see this in the beginning. And of course, Essendon, Jordan Ridley come in and Howley come in. Saeed Al-Howley comes in for the Bombers. Out goes Archie Perkins, Elijah Tsatsis. And of course, new is Howley for the Bombers. The milestones, Ben Hobbs' 50th game. And of course, Howley, it's his debut game today there for the Bombers. For Port Adelaide, coming in, Ratatouille, Soldo and Cochrane. Going out, of course, Lockie Jones, Ryan Burton and Jack Lucas. The new person in is Tom Cochrane. And of course, the milestone is Tom Cochrane is his debut game. There we go. Let's just duck over and have a look at some of the stats there. At the moment, let me just reload this back up. Here we go. Let's go and have a look at the goal scorers. And of course, for Port Adelaide, the only multiple goal scorer on the ground is Mitch Georgiadis with 2 goals. There we go. I tell you what, he's on fire, isn't he? Georgiadis, he's had 6 disposals. He's had 5 kicks. He's kicked 2 goals too. Just imagine if they were 4 straight. Could have been a bit bigger margin for Port Adelaide, but doing his job. Let's see if he can continue that throughout the game. Travis Boak, the other single goal scorer there for Port Adelaide. And of course, for the Essendon Bombers, there's just 2 single goal scorers. Sam Draper, who always seems to just bob up with the goal, doesn't he, the big man, Sam Draper. And of course, Nate Caddy. All right, let's have a quick look at the disposal count. And the leading disposal getter out on the ground, Zach Merritt, for the Bombers on 10. He's played a few good games this season already. He looks like he's in for another good season. Zach Merritt there for the Bombers. He's had 11 disposals, 4 kicks, 7 handballs. He's had a mark, a tackle, and behind. There we go. Ollie Wines next best with 9 there for Port Adelaide, 9 disposals. He's had 4 kicks, 5 handballs, couple of clearances there, so he's doing well. Dylan Shield, a good quarter from him for the Bombers with 9. Jake Gresham on 9. And of course, the other 2 for Adelaide. Port Adelaide, that is, Jace Burgoyne, I should say, on 8, and Josh Sin on 7. Let's just roll down a little bit quickly before we head back down to the ground. There we go. Sam Powell Pepper on 4. We're going to head back down to the ground in just a second because they are just about ready to come out. But I'll just scroll down here if you want to see your player. There we go. There are some of the players' stats. Let me just roll that back up. We'll just move that back over there and let's head back down to the ground for the bounce of the ball. G'day, Ryan. How you going, Squire? Of course, Tina Bem Bem in the house. ET. Travel freely. Good to see you all in there. All right, let's head back down to the ground. That's the Port Adelaide by 6 points. Can they turn this second quarter around, or can Port Adelaide? It's going to be interesting game. Certainly one really good game worth listening in on to. All right, folks, let's head back down to the ground. Not too far away from the bounce of the ball in the second quarter.
All went with Port. There was a Bomber player there just tackling him. And the 4 tackles there, like right now, it's just a Bomber player everywhere. Adam. They had the opportunity to kick goals as well. Jay Gresham, 5 tackles, as a small forward in that quarter is unbelievable as well. So
that would have been the full stop on that first quarter, wouldn't it? They hadn't been able to convert the opportunities off the back of pressure, off the back of turning it over.
But the key is now they have to do that for another 3 quarters. So they did that for the first quarter now. Let's reset themselves and go again.
That's right. They went over 200, Howie, in that first quarter, so they need to repeat that again, the Bombers.
Port Adelaide coach's box with the stats and David King.
Well, they responded to Port Adelaide midfield. They won the last 6 clearances in the last 10 minutes of play, which was significant. It was Wines and Co who got going. So they had their troubles and their challenges early, but from those 6 clearances, they went inside 54 times and kicked 0-3. They kicked 1 goal, 5 from their last 7 entries, Port Adelaide. They took complete control of this game in that last dozen minutes or so.
So just looking at those stats, they're +3 in clearances for the quarter, Port Adelaide Kingy, but in the last 10 minutes, they're +6,
Yeah, and probably should have got a greater reward for their work. So the challenge goes back to the Bombers. Can you do what you did in the first 15 minutes and control the midfield battle?
No doubt Essendon will be looking at the same stats that we are now. Pretty universal, thinking how are they going to play the Port Adelaide midfielders that are around that contest that dominated that last 10 minutes. Do they need to shift up their position? Do they change their structure and bring that half forward up? It's been Merritt and Gresham that have been playing half forward on ball, sitting off the contest. Maybe that needs to tighten up a little bit more.
Really, it's Georgiades is the separating factor in this game. His ability to get on the move early, read the cues of the kicker, react first. And the challenge goes back to Ben Mackay. Can you do it? This is why you're here. Get the job done for us, big fella.
Mitch Georgiades with the 2 and Travis Boak with the other goal for Port Adelaide in the first term. Draper and Caddy the goal kickers for the Bombers. Brian wins it down. Sweet goes running after it, pressured by Durham and also Roberts. Durham won the football, did it well. Tried to handball it in the Roberts direction. Moraes has been good early, gets it to Rosie, uses the young man again, round the body. Bouncing ball along the wing. Met by Redmond. He's grabbed by Wines. Dropped the football. No free kick. Pryor then just blazes away along the wing. It's going to stay in. Horn Francis wanting a free kick. In fact, it's Bergman wanting the free kick, and he's going to get it. So Bergman, off half-back, thinks about coming laterally. He's got a leer, but he looks straight ahead in the Powell Pepper direction. Burn Jones affects the tackle and a stoppage.
That slow defence that Essendon have brought tonight, being able to force Essendon long down the line.
Hold the meter.
See here, Big Sweet hitting the ground there and copping a knee for his troubles as well from Sammy Durham.
He's still going though, Sweet. Caldwell high up and under ball, city side wing, flying it. Early was Edwards, and that was unrealistic according to the umpire. So Bergman immediately plays on. The spread to Burgoyne, wants options, wants the corridor, nothing really presents, so he switches it all the way out to the AFL logo. Berry, nice ball to Powell Pepper. He's got the runner again, Berry. He's got some real toe, the young man. Redmond tries to chase him down. He goes to space, if anything, and too much on the kick.
Yeah, it's a great chase from Redmond there. I mean, just stay in the contest and force him to execute under a speed he can't handle.
So the kick from Roberts is a real dangerous one in defence here. Reid and Pryor have got some work to do. The big man Soldo bearing down on him. Clearing kick out to Aaliyah. So it's going to be Port Adelaide to pump it back in. Aaliyah set up for Rioli, and then a wobbly one along the ground. Wines up to Horn Francis, looping pass, looking for Moraes. Now hit the umpire and came back into play. So luck's a fortune there for the Bombers, and Shields dumping kick back towards the wing, and it's marked by Sim. So a little bit of a possession there for the man in line.
Like it was going out of bounds.
It was going out of bounds.
Have a look at this in the box. Wow. Inboard ball is risky. Bergman doesn't let his man down. Slick hands to Boak. Too much on it. Kako trying to get involved. Radaglia with strength. Good chain of hand pass to Berry. Burn Jones is the recipient. He gets a little bit of space. Sets sail for home, and somehow Port manufacture one. Last 3 of the match.
Just at the moment, Port Adelaide setting up beautifully behind the ball there. It's a good little handball there from Joe Berry in his 3rd game, just to bring out Darcy Byrne-Jones, give him an open shot on goal. They're just looking a little bit more cleaner at the moment, Port Adelaide. Just the ability to step through as well and create these 1v1s. Travis Boak, nearly the oldest player in the competition, got one of the youngest ones, Berry. It's a lovely finish by Darcy Byrne-Jones. But behind the ball at the moment, Port Adelaide look extremely strong, and Essendon have lost their way as a forward line.
I just love their composure at the moment, Port. Not blazing, trying to find the perfect build-up, hitting players on the lead. Look at this handball chain here. Just staying composed. Okay, you're in a bit of traffic, inside to out, through ball, and then Byrne-Jones on the end. Had a fast start to 2025, has Darcy Byrne-Jones.
He kicked 3 against the Bombers in this match last year. Merritt wins the football to Shield. Shield finds a gap and has a bounce. Goes himself towards the top of the square. Draper, did he nudge? He's going to give away a free kick. Radaglia across the face of goal to Aaliyah. Long ball, searching ball. Georgiades up the ground goes the fist, and then Martin tapped it down, but Berry did the crumbing, read it really well to Pal Pepper. How's this ball going to sit? Wines is there, but Caldwell's got his measure as well and holding the football, and here go the Bombers through Redmond.
Advantage paid. Redmond takes no time, sends it down to the blonde bombshell caddy. Here comes Martin. He's got some speed. Aaliyah tries to body him. Martin does well. Goes back to Merritt. Good option.
That was a great tackle at half-back here.
He's got Redmond if he wants him.
Elects to go in towards Edwards, a bit too much on it. Here comes Gresham. Bergman's having a game. Stands up, takes a bounce, running out of centre-half back, if you don't mind. Looks to the middle. Here comes Rioli.
Rioli, and now Berry has a run. Blazing through the middle of Marvel. Gets to 51. Sets sail for home, and it's offline. Reed cuts it off. He was hoping for Soldo, but the kick was offline.
Lacked a little bit of composure there, Joe Berry. Could have kept going with the ball, maybe held Soldo on early on.
Pryor. Kick to a 50-50 contest, and Roberts wins it well. They've got some runners here and some space. Gresham thinks about taking on Aaliyah, then looks for Caddy, who's in the front spot. Couldn't complete the mark, but he gets the football back. Round the corner he goes. Martin's there, spoiled at the 11th hour by Farrell.
Big contest there by Farrell. Looked to be out. Probably could have... Martin could have bodied him under the ball and maybe taken an easy mark, but coming back with a fly was Kane Farrell to save the day.
Gee, this is an absolute shootout here at Marvel. It's great to watch.
Really is, King. It's zipping end to end. Here we go again. Mead. Rosie takes on Kako, gets around him. Now it's Port Adelaide's turn to surge. Trying to arch his back, doing well. Back towards Mead. Now Berry getting involved. Sweet. Gets around Merritt. He's showing it all, the big fella. Back to Mead. He's been in the chain 3 times. Deep ball forward. Evans. He's got Pal Pepper.
He's got Richards if he can find him.
It was very short. And there he is again.
Yeah.
Mitch Georgiades.
Yeah. The Essendon defender rolled off. He had Georgiades. He rolled off to Richards, who was free in the pocket. He took the easier of the two options. This guy's hot. He demands a one-on-one at all times. Wouldn't be leaving him alone.
He's kicked 2-2. Could easily have 4 straight. Mitch Georgiades. Kicked his first 2, missed the next 2. Won't register at all. He could really put a hole in the Bombers tonight, Georgiades.
Such a beautiful technique, usually, Georgiades. I reckon we saw that in his first 2.
It was definitely on my side. So we'll go on the behind. We believe it's a bit high. Please check out the ball hit the behind post. Score review. Umpire's call is clear on behind. Check it into the post.
A double check here, the umpires. And that's nowhere near the behind post. It'll be a behind.
We see the ball crosses the line on the behind side of the post. Decision on the scoreboard.
One behind there, you can see. But as a goal kicker, you start to search for a little bit more distance, and Georgiades dropped that one on the inside. Just got to get back to his fundamentals of running nice and straight when he's having a shot at goal. He's got a beautiful hand to foot.
5 is his best, Jack, against the Bulldogs last year. Redmond's clearing kick in the Jones direction. Aaliyah did well, worked him off the football. Burgoyne's handball up against the boundary line there. Richards. Mead. His kick has to be good, and it was excellent to Evans.
This is the gap in the game at the moment. Their ability to find a target under genuine pressure.
Bergman playing really well. Penetrating ball. It's wide. Sits up looking for Georgiades. He works one, but he couldn't quite work Brian off it. Draper, handball, throws Dersmer under the bus. Draper has to fight for it. Pinched by Burn-Jones, but in the meantime, there's a whistle, and it's a free kick going to Dersmer.
Essendon just got to take a leaf out of the Port Adelaide book, control the ball, be composed. make Port Adelaide defend for a bit at the moment. It's just bombing the ball as soon as they get to this spot in the ground.
11 disposals for Bergman. It's been a real positive off half back. Bombers work their way through. Caldwell, looping hand pass is good. Martin dropped it. He's got time to go back to the skipper. Angles inboard. Back to Martin. Now Caldwell started the chain. Wants to get onto his right. Does well the ruckman to hold him up and turns it over. Really well done. Sweet at the end. Berry chips in and chops out.
Berry uses Burgoyne. It wasn't the required distance. Has to go himself. Darting ball. And in the end, having to really work for it was Riol, and he smacked himself into the fence as a result.
I'm cramping just watching this game. I don't know how they're playing at such speed.
Durham, he's got Caddy, but he's made Caddy work. It was a poor kick.
It's a great point, Kingy, because at the moment it's being so frenetic that it will start to open up in this next little bit. You see Willie Rioli colliding there with the hoarding on the side, but it starts to open up so the good users can start to come off the line and find space.
End-to-end footy pulsating on Thursday night. Gresham, Kako, Mead.
Well, it's 28-14. Handball receives Port Adelaide's way. So they've got their running game going from behind, which is starting to really open up this quarter of footy for them.
Brad Johnson alongside David King, Jack Rewalt, Eddie Betts and Matt Hill on Thursday night on Fox. Draper gets to front position. Farrell spirals it out of defence. Pal Pepper fisted away, Boak really clean below his knees. Now Wines, here they go again. Ray's involved in the chain. Pal Pepper brought down, good work. Dersma, the ball spinning around. Whistle, advantage paid. Rosie will take it. Looks deep inside, nothing really presenting. Georgiades is the danger man again. He's on his third opponent. And the way he's going, that is a good result for Zach Reid and the Bombers.
Yeah, he was at sea there, Zach Reid. Lucky that the kick didn't go, but he's moving from Georgiades.
At least he took the dominant position. He took away the leading lane, which is what Ridley hadn't been able to do and Ben McKay hadn't been able to do. So good play from the young fella there.
Throw in. Ryan won it. Nullify each other in the end, though. Dersma out to Martin. And then Martin's kick, or Kako, had Evans for company, but gee, did well, Kako. Did really well. And then that kick barely the required distance, but it was deservedly played in the end. Here's Jones. Jones's wide kick, Caddy. Now he's got one option, and that's Menzies, and he takes it. Back into the field of play. He wants it over and done with, out towards Gresham. Off hands, Dersma. Durham. Back he goes. Shield. Little bit of composure around the corner. Off hands for behind.
Working hard, the Bombers. I mean, this is an entertaining game of footy. Up and back, as we've said. If you can find an easy target or two, they're out there. You've just got to have the composure.
No composure there. Wines. He dropped it. Menzies got him high. Let off for the Brownlow medalist. Sizes up. Georgiades! The man is doing it all tonight. Goals, hangers. He's telling everyone to calm down. He's not calm himself. That's a good grab.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you can't stand in front.
It was a bit of Warwick Kappa too. Put the hands in the shoulders and away he went.
Play on, not 15, play on.
On 15, Drew centering. Bergman, another possession. He's damaging. Spreads it out wide.
Play on.
Happy to come back inboard was Moraes in game 2. Patience now to Burgoyne. Radaglia.
Just making Essendon defend here, Port Adelaide.
We've got the runners out. Now, former Pie, Joe Richards. They come towards him. It's a good lead from Pal Pepper.
It's just sheer volume of possession now, just making them defend for long periods. Plus 27 for the quarter.
There's Georgiades. Reed's beside him.
Oh.
Here he comes. He's a little bit behind. Good contest by Sweet. Darren Boak just bustles his way through. Caddy, unfamiliar in defence. Horn Francis. Willie Rioli, dangerous, so creative with the footy. Look for something. Really well done. Tapping it forward was Evans. Essendon now come and they hold them off.
Every Essendon player is in the D50 at the moment. So when they do win the ball back, they've got to be smart coming out.
Sweet won it down and taken to ground Gresham.
It's going to be a habit of when you're not getting a lot of the ball inside 50, you start to creep up as a forward.
Brian won it down. Drew went without it. Horn Francis goes without it. Gresham should have been taken high. Someone was taken high. And it's going. It is going to Gresham. And he goes back into the middle where it's Roberts. Now he wants it to move it. He's got Ridley out wide. He goes short to Shield. Towards Jones, who's in the right spot. It was a good kick.
Now just take your time here. There's players out forward of the ball, but Essendon just need the set shot. They need time to set up, slow this game down a fraction. That was a terrific kick by Dylan Shield. He's working hard, Dylan. He's having a night.
So Jones, who's kicked 1 goal this year so far. No angle. Has a little bit of distance to contend with here. Consistent last year after a couple of ravaged years due to injury. Comes in right on the 50 and just glances it to the right.
2-8. It's conversions, a simple thing sometimes separate games of football. 4-6 to 2-8. Jason Dunstan will be beside himself at half-time.
Fetal position, you reckon?
Boat to Moraes. You'll hear from Jason Dunstall, Lee Montagna, Sarah Jones on the half-time break. Now Pepper gets front position. Here come the runners again. Moraes pumping a little hand pass to Boat. Runs his full measure. Burn Jones gets out the back to the big man Soldo. He's got no room to move and immediately caught by Archie Roberts.
Been a bit of a shift from Port Adelaide offensively in the last 10 minutes. Just slow through the back line, and as soon as they get in midfield, they go fast.
Soldo takes it unopposed. Drew out to Moraes. Could the young man get on the scoreboard? He almost did. It's still in play off the hands of Pal Pepper. Hobbs's kick is a little bit of a dodgy one, but Martin marked it and hung it out to dry. Goes short to McGrath.
Love to see them find some uncontested marks. Just play a slow game for a minute. Porter retreating hard. There's voids everywhere, all over the ground. Go forward if you can.
Shield. Space for Ridley. That kick to Dersma, barely the required distance, but it's paid.
Got Reed. That's it. Take your time. Just take what Port Adelaide are giving you here. There's players out everywhere.
So back to Reed. Now this is a kick up the corridor to Mackay. So racking up plenty of possessions and going nowhere at the moment. Roberts to Shield in this little game of keepings off. Further afield he goes. No mark from Rosie. Durham and Drew go for it. Durham off his shoelaces, did it really well in the end. Towards Merritt, then a tumbling mark from Edwards. They've been probing away to Merritt's out wide looking for Dersma. There's a kick off the side of the boot. Scooped in by Gresham. Handball back to Durham. Durham wants Gresham. He found him and then goes back inboard to Merritt. It's building to Ridley. Kick towards the top of the square. Candy! Not quite. It's still in dispute. Can he get a boot on it? Soldo over the top. Somebody's got to get a boot to it. Did Menzie know?
Well, that was good from Essendon. It took a long time to get inside forward 50, but they just took what Port Adelaide gave them. Uncontested marks. Eventually got it back through the corridor. Showed a different mode.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. Zach Merritt involved 3 times in that bit of play. Incredible work rate from the captain.
Evans, tension on the face of Bomber fans. It's caught by 6 at quarter time. They're out by 9. Georgiades has kicked 2 and missed 3. Only 1 goal for the term. Burn Jones. Porter kicked the last 3 of the match. Drew, nicely cut off. Burn Jones has been dangerous. Draper flies back. Can't complete the mark. Pushing the back. It's going the way of Port. The 2-on-1. And Berry, the meat in the sandwich, or the fruit in the sandwich, I guess, gets the free kick.
It's
No need here.
Well, there's not a lot in it. I mean, they had numbers and they had an extra behind that as well in Ben Mackay, so it was an unnecessary free kick in the end, but conversion's a problem at the moment. Let's see if the young fella can knock one through.
Third match, 1 goal for Joe Berry. Nowhere near it. Hooks it badly. Essendon should be in the hole and are. Ridley mops up. There's a hex on the goals.
Reed's kick to Brian. It wasn't 15 and Powell Pepper's got him. So stoppage in the end. Soldo to Powell Pepper. Has he got enough force on this? It's going to sit right up in the square. Mackay dropped it. Was sitting right underneath of it. Georgiades, dinky little kick to Rioli. Shrugs one, thinks about a check side. That's not 15. Burn-Jones rides the tackle. Attempts to get it to Mead. Cut off by Durham. Then it was Drew. Rioli taps it to Mead. He's grabbed by Hobbs. And he's going to play a throw.
Oh, Ben Mackay. Having a man. Balls in the air for an eternity. In the end, their pressure's still pretty good, the Bombers. Hanging around.
Every time Willie Rioli's around the ball, you sense something happening. Draper gets a little sharp and gets the free kick, and Bomber fans enjoy it.
That's 50.
That's 50 as well.
It will be, and they enjoy that even more.
Not sure what Miles Bergman was thinking there. Missed him by 10 metres, that throwback.
Rioli needs to get out of the area, they'll get more.
30-metre penalty.
Sure, 50.
Draper lobs it inside 50. They raffle it between Radaglia and Burgoyne. Burgoyne gets the winning ticket to Boak. Gets off his man. Dersma, Horn-Francis. Drops it, has time to go back and get it. I'm not sure if he should have, though. He's wrapped up in a tackle. Now Bergman, his teammate, under pressure. Got one high and they get out of jail. And Bomber fans are starting to get quite vociferous.
No contest there. Burgoyne standing up, that one setting up their offence. Now Essendon have got to defend this switch.
So Bergman out to Radaglia. Sin. So Essendon will be ruining their opportunities at half-time. Pretty even contest as Radagalia's mark was dropped. Merritt's hovering. Was he taken out of the contest illegally? Umpire didn't think so. Port press on. Rioli. Sweet on his own. So Sweet, he's got Georgiades. He's going to present a lead now. Screaming at Sweet, but he elects to go towards the pockets, out in the Drew direction, trapped by Powell Pepper, just bobbled off his feet, and then he was taken in a two-man tackle by Gresham and Redmond and out of play.
A sign of respect between the two, Redmond and Powell Pepper, heaping each other up. So Port lead it by 9. Georgiades kicked 2, missed 3. Just one goal for the term, the way of Burn-Jones and Port. They've kicked the last 3 of the game. Powell Pepper, like a wrecking ball, just trying to burst his way through. Not sure how he got rid of it.
Oh, he's in trouble too, Powell Pepper, is he?
He's jumped up now. Didn't look good. He was lying prone for a moment. Thought the same thing. Dersma uses Jones. It has been an electric term, end to end.
Caldwell's out if he can find him.
Does just that. Boat tracks back. Roberts provides the hand option. Burn-Jones tries to hem him in. Centering ball. Big Draper gets to the front. Mead. Clever hand pass. Really well done. Farrell. Always good by foot and is to the skipper. Here comes the overlap run. Back to Farrell. Squeezes it out again. Beautifully delivered to Boak. Started in defence. Now he takes it up the centre wing. Inside 50 ball. Lets them down.
Better from the Bombers there. It was Reed that was standing out front. Ridley had the back position on Georgiades. Worked it well together.
Frenetic second quarter. A few of these players looking for somewhere to lie down at half-time. Brian short to Martin at halfback.
Slow it down. Find a couple of uncontested marks. There's players free everywhere. Porter trying to encourage the Bombers to bite off something they can't hit like that.
Pushing it back.
So Durham wins the free kick on the wing. Minute to play. Full analysis at half-time with the team. And the kick towards Draper spoiled out of play.
When the game starts to open up, there's Essendon players lining up in the middle of the ground. We just couldn't get it to the other side. See that kick from Cape Farrell, but this is that defensive there from Reed. See, he was just got his head on the swivel. He was the one that dropped in, working well as a partnership.
Draper and Soldo. Soldo won it down. Durham just breaks free and kick down the throat of Gresham was a good one.
It's going to be opportunistic as a forward there. Gresham was the only player playing in front from an Essendon point of view. Durham with a nice little turn sort of step in that contest and jammed it on the left foot. You've always got to be ready for this quick kick out. That little moment there, got around, and Gresham, the crafty forward, just moving. Find yourself in front. Opportunistic shot on goal. Kicks this, and it's only 3 points at half-time. Take that as an Essendon supporter.
Averaged a goal in every game last year, and he's kept that up this year with 2 goals in 2 games. But what an important time for another one. They only trail by 3 heading to the major break.
So Sam Halpepper there walking the boundary of the doctor. But it's this contest here, and the step for Durham just to get around. It gives you a little bit of a look at it, and all the good forwards will be in front at the right time. And a lovely finish, something that Essendon haven't been able to do. 3 goals, 9 tonight, or 2-9 before that. Gresham, the crafty little goal kicker, has had a fantastic start, swapping on ball with Zach Merritt. His ability to hit the scoreboard is something that he's always had.
Merritt's had 18, Shield 15, Burgoyne 17. Bergman, 14, 2 seconds on the clock. First goal of the term for the Bombers. Half-time, tight game of footy. Port led by 6 at quarter-time. Half-time, Essendon 3-9-27. Port Adelaide 4-6-30, up by 3 points. It has been frenetic down on the ground. And I can see Eddie Betts and Brad Johnson. Looked like Eddie didn't have a microphone in his hand for a moment there, John. But all things are sorted now.
Oh, we are set down here, Howie. What a first half of footy that was. The speed, and Kingy mentioned it throughout in terms of the players and the fatigue in that first half. A couple of young guns I want to really focus on for Port Adelaide in Joe Berry and Christian Miraz. They have just produced some really strong football in that first half. Well over 10 disposals, but it's their movement. Miraz in particular, he was the one that was moving up and down along the wing and really connecting so well for Port Adelaide. Perry's got a beautiful step, Ed. In contest, he's able to get himself in and out quite easily.
No, he does. But for me, for the Bombers, it's Zach Merritt. Again, the leader last week, the way that he's leading from the front, he dominated again. As Jack said upstairs, in that quarter, he was everywhere. He was at 5 contests. He's pushing for his team as well. So, big second half for Merritt.
Certainly is, Sarah. That was a strong half of footy from both teams.
Thank you very much to Brad Johnson and Eddie Betts. As we can see there, Ken Hinkley chatting to his troops before they head inside for half-time. We've got David King, Joey Montagna and Jason Dunstall. What do you think Ken's saying there, Jace?
Well, it's hard to say. I'm a little underwhelmed from what I've seen in the first half. I've got to be honest. We saw the Bombers come out and their first 10 minutes looked fantastic. They put pressure on. I thought, this is the response we're expecting. But then the game degenerated into this little open contest where each team got the chance to use the footy. And basically they just traded mistake for mistake. So maybe Ken's just saying, hey, listen, if we use a little bit of composure, we've got plenty of opportunities here. But to have 4 goals to 3 at half-time under the roof, I mean, that's an indictment on the contest itself.
Yeah, well, no one's taken this game by the scruff of the neck, obviously, and I think both coaches will be saying that to their group. Hey, if we just correct 1 or 2 things, we can absolutely win this contest in the second half. So, for as tough a watch as it has been quite scrappy, just played between the arcs. I think both coaches will be confident that if their team can fix a few things, that they can win this game.
Anyone's game at this point in time. We're going to have a look at our Harvey Norman highlights, and it is Mitch Georgiades, David King, early on in the game for the Power. He was everything to them. 2 goals, 2. His marking's been exceptional. And it felt like Brad Scott just didn't know who to put on him.
Well, I don't blame Brad for this. I mean, you trust your key defenders to get this job done. Ben McKay's here for this exact reason. That's the matchup. But he cleaned him up for the first 20 minutes, so then they have to go to plan B and plan C. And they've looked rattled again down back. I mean, Jackson Pryor's put them into turmoil time and time again. Ben McKay, he just doesn't look right at the moment. He just doesn't look like he's in good enough shape to read the flight of the ball or where the ball's likely to go. Reid was the only one that really took dominant position against Georgiades, and I thought he did okay, but he's separating this game at the moment.
Georgiades in great form too at the moment. He had an impressive game last week. Joey, you've isolated something. You mentioned a few things that the sides could fix up, correct, and be right in the game. The tempo of the game, you think?
I just think this is an adjustment that Brad Scott and Essendon can make at halftime that can help them win the game. Essendon, no doubt, the best patch of footy for them was the first 20 minutes. And it was obvious in that first 20 minutes, the game was obviously played more in their forward half, but they just controlled the tempo. They controlled the speed. And what that allowed is when the ball went inside their forward 50, they could get their forward pressure game going, and we saw some elite pressure early. Or if they didn't win the score from it, they could win the ball back and get some forward half turnovers. So this was a look early in that game. In the first 20 minutes, they were in control. They win a free kick. We saw a couple of forward 50 tackles. But in the second quarter, the game turned into circle work. And I think Essendon got caught up in this mode. So they were able to find space, but then they went too quick. And they didn't at the right time slow it down. So I think Essendon, once they get forward of centre and they get possession, they need to slow down to allow their defenders to catch up and really be able to set the field. So just here, you'd love Hobbs to have a little bit more composure, find an uncontested mark, because this is as the game went on. All of a sudden, you see how quickly it's turned over, and you're watching Essendon paddling, and all of a sudden they're disorganised, and their defenders can't man up, and you're leaving them a bit exposed. So I would just want to see, and King, you can touch on this a bit more as well, the free-flowing nature of that second quarter. If Essendon, once they get over halfway, go slow and not get carried away, allow the backs to push up, find their man, set the field, they can then get their pressure game going again. They can turn the ball over and get better looks rather than just chasing up and back, because there's a forward half intercept numbers. After the 20-minute mark of the first quarter, they've had one since, because they can't stop them, because they don't have numbers to catch up to play it in their forward half.
The longer Essendon can hang on to the ball, time in possession, the less time they have to defend. Yep. They can't defend. Yep. Their back six are all at sea, whether they're out of form or the system's not saving them. So the longer they can take those uncontested marks and build the ball, the better off they'll be.
The one difficulty they've got, Kingy, though, is when they go to kick it inside 50, they can't identify a target.
No.
There's no one that's presenting like a Georgiades that looks likely to take marks. 2 of their 3 goals came from free kicks. I just don't know whether they're working hard enough or what the forward line system is supposed to be. But as Joey mentioned too, a couple of times they came streaming through the middle. There was nobody there, so there was no target, and they just kicked to space. So they have to find a little bit of regularity about the way the targets operate inside the forward 50, so the guys with the ball know what to expect.
Would you throw Durham down there? Would you do something different? A midfielder?
He can mark. He's got good leg speed. I think he's a good type to go for.
Kingy, does composure win this game?
Yeah, well, it's exactly what Joey just showed. I mean, we're seeing the same game, and when Port Adelaide get the ball, they just look like they've got options, but they're comfortable in traffic. They don't feel rattled. They're not daunted by the fact that the Bombers are closing in on them, and they're able to take the ball from inside to out regularly and then get it to their playmakers on the extremities. And that's all it is. It's just a very simple game to assess. It's just that outside of Mitch Georgiades, there isn't a forward commanding their role at the minute.
And young Joe Berry's had plenty of chances. He was drafted for his foot skills. He's just left the field on the table. They've had some really good looks, Port Adelaide, because of the things you've touched on. They also would be frustrated that they just haven't finished their work. That sort of thing there. I mean, he got drafted as an elite inside 50 kick, so that's the point as well. I think Ken Hickley will be sitting there going, hey, we're doing a lot right. If we just play with composure, we can get the job done.
Those numbers, Jason, if they continue, I mean, Essendon are going to defend for long periods.
Uncontested ball will kill you, and eventually Port will start hitting the sticks a little bit more often, and they'll get the job done. So you're right. If Essendon can't come out and find that pressure factor they had in the first 10 minutes and then start to do something with the footy when they get their opportunities, it could be a long night for them.
The pressure for both sides was pretty deplorable in that quarter, 146 to 130. They're not the areas that the coaches are searching for.
No, that game was circle work. It was played in between the arcs most of the time. Neither could finish at either end. So that's why I'm saying I think there needs to be some adjustments and see which team can get the game on their terms in the second half.
Feels like Groundhog Day day for Zach Merritt. 18 disposals at this point in time. Again, the Bombers' best player. Again, their best chance of winning it. He's just an impressive player.
Getting plenty of it, but hasn't really set up the scores. Hasn't looked like scoring himself. He's working hard. He's getting a lot of it, but just connecting with that final target's been difficult.
Well, he's another one, Jace. So where would you put him? I mean, I know he's doing damage in the middle and getting a lot of ball. Sorry, he's not doing damage, but getting a lot of ball.
Yeah.
Would you put him centre forward? Would you try and get some quality and even some uncontested? But that kick there, they need more of that in the forward half of the field. Would you move him or would you leave him?
Well, I don't like him stationed as a forward, put it that way. If he's having a rest, yes. Otherwise, I want him in the midfield personally.
Well, it has been a hot week right across all our shows on Fox Footy, and things are going to heat up shortly because John Ralph joins us with a Thursday night footy blowtorch, all the big issues. Ralphie will get the team discussing next.
Go Harvey Norman Betting, full-stock clearance.
All right, it's half-time here. Well, there wasn't too much score added on there. As I said, a little bit of circle work by both teams. Port Adelaide getting the jump of that first goal in that second quarter. 1 goal, 2 they put on in that second term. And, of course, 1 goal for the Bombers. It's Port Adelaide, though, at half-time. 4-6-30, leading the Bombers 3-9-27. Will the behinds, well, will that come into play and do a little bit of damage for both teams? Will that hinder one side not kicking accurate in this match today? But it's going to be in for a tight tussle in the second half here at Marvel Stadium between Essendon and Port Adelaide. Essendon's home game, of course, should be pretty interesting. We do have the poll on who's going to win this game today. And, of course, 57%, well, you voted for the away team in Port Adelaide. Will that come to fruition? We'll have to just wait and see. Our polling votes have been, let's just say, extremely accurate this season. Let's see if it's accurate again. Let's just duck over and let's have a look at some of the player stats. Let's just have a look for those folks who play the AFL fantasy game. Jade Gresham up to 78. Jace Burgoyne, 72 points, the rest under that. The goal scorers, I'll give you in just a minute. The goal scorers, Mitch Georgiades is still the leading goal scorer on 2 goals. Let me just double check that. I suppose it should be the same because it's only been a couple of goals in that third term. Of course, Darcy Byrne-Jones, Travis Boak, the other single goal scorers there for Port Adelaide. For Essendon, Jade Gresham is the other goal scorer there for the Bombers. Of course, Sam Draper, Nick Caddy had the goals in the opening term there for the Bombers. Let's have a look at the disposal count, see where it's going. Zachy Merritt for the Bombers still leading the way with 18. 8 kicks, 10 handballs, 4 marks, a tackle, a clearance, 1 behind. Jace Burgoyne next best on the stats, but the bet leading for Port Adelaide on 17. Dylan Shield continues his way with 15. Ollie Wines drops down to 13. A little bit quiet, a quarter there from Ollie Wines there. Sam Durham up to 13. Let's roll on down a little bit. See if you can find yours. Travis Boak there up to 10 possessions, 6 kicks, 4 handballs, and he's kicked a sausage roll. There are some of your rest of your stats, people. Jackson Pryor up to 7 possessions. Radagalia's on 7, 5 kicks, 2 handballs for the big man. Alia, one of the star backmen for Port Adelaide, he's had 6 possessions. All right, we will come to the team stats in a moment if we get the opportunity, but we're going to take you back down to the commentators.
It was fun watching him last week, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, I think.
It's a reason to sit in front of the tally and have it locked on Fox Footy tomorrow night. Time for the blowtorch. Ralphie, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So down the other end, there is no Harry Mackay, though, unfortunately. So Michael Voss revealed today that there are personal issues at play. He's back at Carlton and potentially might play against Collingwood. We might just hear from Michael Voss at Icon Park today.
Yeah, obviously was dealing with a few things during the week. Took some time away from the club, but obviously felt best that he doesn't play this week. So give him the space that he needs to be able to work through a few things and not necessarily put a time frame on it, but hopefully be back soon. Well, it's always player over performance in terms of just being able to look after the person first, and that's what the position we've taken, and so he'll get the support he needs. As a footy club, clearly we wrap our arms around him, as I hope the whole football industry does. So we'll give him the time that he needs, and then we obviously focus on the football.
So, Jason, it's Charlie Curnow time. He was bashed and prodded last week by Josh Battle. Give us a couple of tactical ticks to actually trying to get ahead of Liam Jones, who will return for the Western Bulldogs.
It'll be a good matchup, but I think we're putting too much pressure on Charlie Curnow. He's had an interrupted pre-season. You just need him to compete. What I would be saying is talk to all your mates in the forward line and say, what about a chop out? When the ball hits the deck, how about some of you blokes do something? Because they're getting nothing at ground level at the moment. So if Charlie competes and presents and is able to maybe kick a couple of goals, what he's got to do is get something out of those around him.
So, Joey, Melbourne versus Gold Coast. So Melbourne got Charlie Commond against North Melbourne last week. So the coach says 7 out of the 8 quarters have been really good in terms of ball movement. Do you believe Simon Goodwin, or is he deluded by that?
No, I don't believe those comments. To be fair, the Giants game was in the wet, so that was hard. But no, their ball movement needs a lot of work. They're not getting the efficiency inside 50. They're not moving the ball like other teams out of the back half, so they've still got plenty of work to do.
Joey, one more for you, Hawthorn versus GWS. So in 2008, Jeff Kennett said to Alistair Clarkson halfway through the year, do you have everything you need to win the premiership? He said, we certainly do. The rest is history. Round 3, have they got everything they need to win the premiership?
I think so. This is an even as a competition as there is. There's no standout, and right now Hawthorn are as good as any team in it, so I can't see why they can't go all the way.
So, Jason, Brisbane versus Geelong. So Chris Scott says that both Tom Stewart and Bailey Smith will fly and are expected to play. What about Patrick Dangerfield playing 80% forward? Can they win the flag if he does that, because they were battered and bruised by St Kilda without him in the guts?
Yeah, I think the Cats have moved on from needing Danger to dominate in the midfield. And apart from Max Holmes, it's very much a workman-like midfield that's operating in the centre. They've got so much talent on the periphery. And if Tom Stewart can stay fit, I've got no reason to see why they can't be there competing for the premiership at the end of the year.
And talk about the stakes for West Coast versus Fremantle. Now, Jason, if you were Josh Tracy, would you be wandering into the coach's office and saying, what about you get the pill in as quickly as possible? Enough of this vanilla ball movement. He's making it hard for his key forwards.
He is. Sometimes you just got to take it on your own responsibility. Josh Tracy, if I'm him, just go grab half a dozen of the midfielders and say, kick it to me. I'm going to grab a few of the forwards and say, take off, get out of the way, and let's get this show on the road. Because he's one of the best forwards in the comp at the moment. I love the way he plays. He's an old-fashioned forward that continually presents, and he's a pretty good kick. So the more they get it in his area, the better they're going to be.
There you go, Jason. That's how you kicked all those goals, Sarah. Get the ball, kick it to me.
Sounds like a plan.
Except it's a different game now, James.
Ralphie, we'll see you post-game for a bit of Wreck-It Ralph. All right, we've got a huge Monday night coming up on Fox Footy AFL 360 with Gary Lyon and Jared Waitley. Ken Hinkley and Michael Voss will join for Coaches Night and discuss all the big issues out of the weekend. And then what about this? The great Lee Matthews makes his long-awaited debut on the couch. Cannot wait for that one.
Sportsbet, we're proud supporter.
All right, there we go. Commentators will be back with us shortly. We're only 3 minutes away from the bounce of the ball for the second half. Let's just have a quick look. Just a minute. 209 to 184. There we go. 25 plus to Port Adelaide. Only the 12 and the 13 in the handballs. So there's not a great deal in it. If you look at the inside 50s, both 24, each of 2, 12 scoring shots to 10 scoring shots. So both teams getting plenty of opportunity up until half time. They're going on just under the season average. So we expect it to be a little bit more free-flowing in the second half. And of course, disposal efficiency, both pretty high for both sides, going above their season average. Inside 50 efficiency, well, the Bombers a little bit under there. Port Adelaide, not too bad. And of course, the free kick's always good that it is all tied up. They hit out 16 to 15. Clearances, +1 to Port Adelaide. Centre clearances, +2. but everything is reasonably even in the stats as on the scoreboard. Only 3 points of difference here, Port Adelaide's way. We should be in for a good second half. 47-66 Port Adelaide, 19 plus in the marks. Marks inside 50 though. Good to see both teams doing well there, getting their opportunity. Contested marks, Port Adelaide a little bit stronger in the air. Tackles, well, the Bombers tackling a little bit more fierce today, 32-19. Port Adelaide, well, they're under their season average. Essendon pretty well on the ball there. And of course, that is it for the stats. So we'll put it back here and we'll be back with you in just a moment, folks, when the commentators are back. And we'll take you to the bounce of the ball in the second half, where it's the Port Adelaide by 3 points.
Mark Howard in commentary on a Thursday night. So what do we expect, David King, in the second half?
Well, both teams would have assessed at half-time that probably going too fast to give their defenders a chance to actually get the job done. But the skill level's been poor. I think they have an eyeball or two from the coaching staff in, I would say, both teams' midfield direction. So they need some leadership out there just to control the speed of play.
Port by 6 at quarter time, 3 at the half. Georgiades kicked 2. He missed 3 other set shots. A wonky bounce. Assists Brian to Caldwell. Back to the ruckman. Wobbles the ball forward early inside 50. Away from Caddy.
Too straight as well, that's the other thing. Fast ball movement straight. It's going to be the creative players who can drive their legs off the line and get it to the far side of the ground.
Sin, plenty of it in the first half. Wobbles it into the middle of Marvel. Redmond does well to pick it up. And Pryor hangs the ball out towards the wing to space. Caddy traps it to Roberts with a 1-2. Squeezes the ball inside 50. Gets out the back. Jones, he's got a little bit of space. Sweet arrives. Kako doesn't need much space. Ball stays in. Caddy, little dribbler. Oh, goal-saving effort in the end is Radagalier. Jack, just explain what you're meaning there about too straight.
So what happens when the game goes fast, the play tends to stay on the same sort of plane, so it goes up and back on the same sort of side of the ground. It just takes a little bit of creativity. Sometimes it's just a player turning their head and looking to the fat side of the ground, because that's where your freeze will go.
Long ball from Burgoyne, but Ridley read it a lot better and plays on quickly. And then penetrating ball back to the top of the square. Caddy sets himself, couldn't take the mark. Burgoyne just scampers away from Draper. Quick ball to Farrell, and then it was offline to Mead. Pressure.
So that's a good example there. Ridley takes the intercept mark. You'd love to see that one come back inside, because the ball has left the 50 from that part of the ground. So every single number is in that part of the ground. You've got to come back into the middle part, potentially over the other side, to open up your scoring avenues.
Great explanation. Thursday night football. 3-time premiership Tiger Jack Rewald alongside 2-time Kangaroos premiership player David King. Gresham under pressure. Somehow releases it by hand. And then gets a free.
Move out, Sam.
Away, sweet.
Stand, Jake.
Been good, the big man.
Jason. Play on.
Looks really fit. Off the ball, there was a hold.
Stand.
Going the way, Nick Bryan.
Play on. You, mate.
Chips into space, a good ball to the skipper, Merritt. Wanted to go off one step, now resets. White jumpers flood back, sees something in a hole.
Yeah.
Really well picked out to Durham.
Yeah, and he's the one for me. If he can just find these little holes, 30 to 50 from goal, he's a beautiful mark overhead. Long raking kick. I think he could break the game open centre forward Durham tonight.
Zach really made Durham lead at this.
Yeah,
It's good to see his craftiness. You're exactly right. 30 to 50 out, you're going to take those marks.
Picked 9 back in the 2021 mid-season. He's been a revelation. 5 score involvements on average per game last year.
Oh.
Gee, there's been some average goal kicking tonight.
Yeah. It's contagious. Oof. But that's the play. That's the play. You haven't got a winner with the long high ball, so I think you've got to find those shallow entries and try and find your midfielders getting forward against lazy opponents.
Radigalia. Long ball. And Redmond. Splendid. Took it in the air. Takes on his man. And then the kick through the fingertips of Kako. Rioli. Just dumps it on the boots. It's a bouncing ball. Ridley's going to be the first there and has to keep it in. Berry forages for it as well, eventually out.
Same again there from Essendon. All comes out that way. We saw in that previous one that went back inside to Merritt and was able to find Durham. It's just that little 15, 20-metre kick inside the Sam Powell-Pepper. We believe he's had a HIA test. He looks okay there.
El Hooley and Cochrane, the unused subs. Bryan just throws it forward. Caldwell over the head. Sweet. Takes a long time to get rid of it. Drew finds a bit of space. Murray stays up in the tackle. Sweet. Nice little step by the big fella off the instep. Wobbling forward. It's Mackay.
So Mackay is going to transfer. This ball's hanging in the air for a while. Pryor did pretty well under the circumstances. Roberts.
They're out in the middle if they're brave enough.
So they go corridor. Running through is Caldwell. Thought about passing it and then darts one inside 50, but snaffled by Aaliyah.
Cool as you like there too.
Snaffled. That was a great description, Ellie.
Francis out to Sin, who directs traffic down the wing, and they're out.
Some run on the city side. Burn Jones gets around McGrath easily. Inside ball. Richards plays on, sets up for home. Everyone struggled to kick goals tonight. Not the number 35, Joe Richards. Opening goal of the half for Port.
Well, it's a game of basketball at the moment. Your turn, our turn. You just get burnt. No defensive intent or system that can contain the Port Adelaide ball movement here. Just look at Burn Jones. He's had a fantastic start to the year with his kicks inside 50. Coming into tonight, he's the only player in the competition going at 100%, 6 from 6. Finding a target, creating a score. Beautiful kick inside 50, making the right decision at the right time. This is bravery to step back in, open up the whole forward 50, and then the game becomes easier. Well played.
It's amazing what that little step does. It actually just shifts the whole defence in front of you as well. Interesting finish as well to play on there from Joe Richards, but they're the sort of moments that you see Darcy Byrne-Jones just takes the game in front of him, steps inside, comes back through the corridor, percentage goes straight up to scoring.
Brad Johnson.
And as well for Port Adelaide. Was assessed at half-time for a head knock.
Martin works his way through the congestion in the caddy direction. Off hands it goes. Out to Edwards. Bit hot for Dersma. Has to go running for it. Retreats back. Kick from Pryor to the top of the square. What can the Bombers do here? Jones goes the fist. Burgoyne went in. Radigalia. Drew dodging, weaving through to Wines. Drew. Oh, they've coughed it up here. He's gone holding the ball. So the Bombers, they can pump it back in through Dersma. Goes towards Caddy in the pocket, but beaten fair and square by Bergman, who is bringing his own football to play tonight.
Just looking a bit sore as Farrell. He might have got crunched in that marking contest, potentially by Draper. Keep an eye on him. Bergman, and one of the best. That's not his best effort, though.
He's not the one you want to do the crunching.
No.
You don't want to be on the wrong end of Draper.
No.
Big boy.
Reid with a step. Just great to see him playing football after so many injuries. Elia just hangs in the air in dominant form. Now Rosie on the short switch. Well picked up on the laces. Berry drops it forward to Richards. Kick the last. Immediately on again. Ray. Oh, he's caught. Does well. Wines to stand up in the tackle. Soldo leaves it to Georgiades, who was the hot hand in the first half. Here come the Bombers back the other way.
So Merritt, who's been brilliant again, out to Ridley with time and space. Can use Merritt, can use Jones. Jones back to Merritt. The champ lines them up, does he? No, a little chip, a centering chip to Menzie.
That's the kick. That's the one. They're out everywhere, 30 to 50 from goal. And Merritt had the smarts to not just blast it long and go try and bypass Alir if you can. He's taken 4 intercept marks. He's been outstanding behind the ball. Just that change of direction there, Jack. You called for it. And finally brought it back into the corridor.
Zach Merritt, so prolific again. After such a great game in a losing side last week, he's doing a magnificent job setting up Menzie. 5 touches for Menzie so far, and the kick is outstanding. Back to 2-point game.
Well, the Bombers needed that one.
Well, it just finishes with class players in the forward half of the ground. They're the returns you're going to get. Now, Merritt had a poor first half by foot, but just the decision-making here. Even to stay in this running wave, 3v1, Bergman had no play. And just there he says, right, there's my option. I'm just going to use my eyes to fake him out a little bit, bring him back into the corridor.
It's a great point about faking with the eyes, because it's a sort of like a sell the story. Is you're going to kick it long, and then all of a sudden you can see Zach Merritt just has his option here. So at the point now, they're thinking he's going to kick it long, and just that little bit of vision, corner of the eye sort of stuff. That's what the good players have got. They've got the skill, but they've also got this ability to sell the story and actually create something else. So you can see Kane Farrell.
Back in the middle we go. Sin bustles through. Port now being asked to respond. Burgoyne, Shield won't let him go. Bit of energy about the red and black. Looks like Gresham may have caught one as well. So the intensity gone up. Dersma does well, picks it up, arches the back, gets away, sends it deep forward. Watch out, here comes Draper again. Menzie down, back towards Draper. Pressure on, Edwards off the ground, doesn't quite get the purchase. Port look to squeeze it out to Bokel, immediately be under pressure, goes back to Radaglia. He'll be happy with the line and gets it.
They've had 11 inside 50s to 2 in this third term. He's got to find a way to cap. I don't mind Big Draper cleaning up the pack. Those at the fall of the ball have got to be ready, got to be proactive. There's goals on offer here.
Important stat isn't it? 11-2 inside 50s. Can they put it on the scoreboard? Draper tries to catch it out of the ruck. Out to Caldwell. Tried to tap it to himself. Kept the football in the Bombers' possession. Back to Shield. Now Durham. Durham just blazes away and misses the lot.
Port by 6 at quarter time, 3 at half time. Goal apiece this term. Oh, will they pay it? Probably not. Good effort though by Dersman. Bomber fans enjoying it.
That's tough by Dersman as well. Georgiades coming up with the ball. You don't know what's coming, just to throw yourself in front of that contest there. Nearly had enough bites of the cherry.
Soldo clears the pack.
Good work from Hobbs. Manned against Horn Francis on that occasion.
This is the 30 to 50 metre spot you're looking to try and kick the ball. They've opened up the space behind the man on the mark, but can you find a short one?
Draper's throwing his body around deep. He's pressing Radaglia. Edwards goes the fly. Draper arrives late. Bergman's been fantastic all night. Gets it on the 1-2, tight on the line. Takes a bit off with the kick. Oh, good courage coming back. Zach Reid hopefully gets up okay. Does. Port looking to move it back immediately. Horn Francis hasn't seen any real burst or dash tonight.
That is outstanding from Reid. I mean, this is a man who's missed a lot of football through injury. He looked up, he said, you know what, it's my time, I've got to go. Eyes only for the footy. That's a real lifter, an emotional lifter for the group.
So Soldo with the fists, inboards, in dispute on the wing. Hobbs with the dump kick towards half forward. No one really home mark caddy. Radagalia can retreat to Evans. And his kick into the middle.
Outside 5.
Richards, who's on the board this quarter, leads. Gee, they're blazing away here now through Moraes towards the pocket. Georgiades got a tap to it, then got it to Pal Pepper, who's grabbed by McGrath. Georgiades picks it up. They're under the pump, Port Adelaide. Essendon are going to come away with this. Martin out towards the wing. No mark taken from Edwards. Edwards fights for the football though. Comes out again, and Rioli can steady the ship. Wines was calling for it. He finds it. A little bit of a fake, and then goes for goal, the Brownlow medalist, and stops the right.
There's a class of Willie Rioli there. He was the one that worked over to the contest where the turnover happened. It came inside to Ollie Wines. And Ollie Wines sort of faking out. You can see just the bravery here from Willie Rioli just to pick the ball up. Gets that handball there. And to come inside, just breaks the game apart. And then here, Ollie Wines, what a champion he's been. Great finish.
Well, it's almost as if there's 18 players refusing to pick up a man. And you go your way, I'll go mine. Let's see who wins the shootout. I mean, there's 3 Port players there that could have got the ball. And Wines was classy enough in the end to put it through. But, gee, it's an open game. Anyone's ball.
2 goals to 1 for the term. Port back out to an 8-point margin. End-to-end footy. Shield, he's been good in the middle. Mead arrives, leaves without it in the purple boots. Scoops it out the back. Wines, muscles the ball forward. Ridley, he under pressure immediately. Richards does well, gets away from Ridley now. Goes inside 50, big contest. Rosie's dangerous, keeps his feet. Tries to step away, was looking for Horn Francis. It might spiral out to him again. Mead, Burn Jones, kick smothered. Pryor, important exit ball, and it's good.
It's to Jones. So looks inboards and finds the chest of Caldwell.
Just got too many hovering for the switch here, the Bombers. They've got 8 players hovering behind the ball.
So McGrath out to Ridley, but also Reid together, and then out to Dersma, who's worked hard tonight. Back in concert with Ridley, wobbly one along the ground. Caddy did well to pick it up, then Hobbs got rid of it. Caddy's there for help, but they've coughed it up. Wines with the football again. Back to Mead, a little fake, and then just happy to retreat round. Sweet fills the spot, and then the big man goes for a charge. Goes for a big lope along the wing. Tried to get it to Burn Jones. Scrapping for it is Richards. Back he goes to Burn Jones, but they're under pressure here. Farrell has to mop up, and he does so. He goes wide, and it's going to be good enough to both. The veteran's got it.
Spins immediately. Squeezes it forward. Wines. Quick hands, almost too quick for Burn Jones. Defence arrives. Here's Georgiades. Sweeps it out wide. Sin, the defender, lets fly.
What about that kick from Kane Farrell there? 55 metres, Travis Boak did not have to move. That's where that sort of talent now with your foot comes right into play. As the game starts to open up, King's saying there's a lot of free players. Kane Farrell's foot's going to be very important.
All of a sudden, Port Adelaide with a couple of opportunities that have gone astray.
It's going to be a real test for fitness in the last term. Oh,
Caldwell, who looked quite fatigued there. That was awful to Moraes. And now Wines, who's been busy the last 2 or 3 minutes. Half volley from Rioli, and then the kick down the throat of Pryor.
So finding a target's critical. Just make the other team defend for long periods. Save some petrol.
Reid out to Dersma. Little chip over the top to Ridley. He's got McGrath in board. He goes down the line. That's good enough from Menzies and Ridley, who continues to run hard along the flank. Tries to find the chest of Jones. He gets another chance. Gets a free kick. So Jones called to play on, does so. Shallow entry inside 50. Draper couldn't quite take the mark. Throws his body in. Burgoyne's there for Port. Big man Sweet hatches over the football. And the umpire wants it.
Bit of a worrying sign for Essendon at the moment is there is a lot of players when the ball is marked behind. So defensive side, that's allowing Port to set up to then be able to counter-attack. They have to work forward, have to run in waves, have to get involved in the offence.
Needs to get the trainer out of play. Sweet. And towards Mead. Dersma. Kako creates space. Back to Horn Francis. Got to relaunch off half back. Got some good things tonight. As Reed. Short. Durham. Prevalent this term. Sets it up for Roberts. Does well. Gets off his man. Mays and Roberts marks directly in front. They need to convert.
They do, but this is more about going around Aliir. Not just high balling to where his sweet zone is, north to 30 from goal, where he can get a run up. This is a risk. You kick that sort of trampoline effect where if you don't hit that, you're going out the back the other way. But this is a big moment. They're pressing hard here, the Bombers.
So Roberts directly in front. Goal kicking has been tough tonight at this end. That's better. Turns to the crowd, pumps a fist. Essendon get their second of the term. Roberts is on the board, and it tightens up again.
Once again, just the ball coming back into the mid part of the ground, the corridor. It was a risky kick, but Roberts holding his width there, not coming over to be involved in the play, knowing that his value out wide is more important. And a lovely finish as well. That was the kick from Jason Horn-Francis there. Reed intercepted. Horn-Francis only 2 kicks tonight so far.
Durham's the one pitching forward. He's the one getting to that 30 to 60 from goal mark. When he gets the ball, you generally bleed.
So a bit going on the boundary line as well, with Bergman doing a couple of laps, and now you can hear the crowd in the background. Sub El Houli is the sub, and they're really willing him to go onto the field. More about that in a moment.
He stopped. Downfield. Stand.
So it's a free kick going to Jordan Sweet. Play on is the call. And they get rid of it in time. There's a free kick advantage. Play drew towards Horn Francis with the big fly. And Roberts is happy for just to trundle out.
Like Soldo had a good sit there, but just pulled out at the last second.
Keep an eye on Soldo. I don't know what he was doing, Jack, but he was on the bench before and he had headphones on. I don't know if he was listening to a podcast. I'm not sure what he was doing. Motivational.
Suggesting a podcast, are you, Hal?
No, I'm not, but I don't know what he was doing, but he had his own headphones on. Not connected to the coach.
He's a big fan of Fox Footy, just seeing what we were thinking.
Listen to the commentary. He ripped them off in a hurry, Kingy, so I don't know if that's a good sign. Now here's Merritt, talking about good signs, just kicks to space. Port have got the numbers. Aliir, the athlete, shrugs off his man. By hand, Sin, taken across the line. We've seen Cochrane warming up, one debutant, as well as El Houli as well. Some exciting moments coming for a couple of youngsters.
Well, they'll be fresh. There's a lot of players out there that aren't. It's been a frenetic game of footy. Maybe the sub can come on and have that impact.
Baptism of fire for them, only 4 points the margin, 5.5 to go. Important stages of the third term. Palpepper scooped it to Drew. Drew's darting ball to Soldo. Soldo too far out to score. Where's Georgiades? He's kicked towards that direction, towards the pocket, makes Georgiades arch the back. And is it a free kick against Roberts? That's going to Roberts.
It's stiff there, I reckon, Rioli. He had Roberts absolutely on toast, and the kick just sat up, sort of got caught under a little bit, was sort of blocking to try and get that space out the back.
Time back on. Stand.
So an important 5 minutes. This third term, Roberts hugging the boundary line. Merritt had Power Pepper all over him. Merritt just traps it with the feet and it'll be a ball up.
Watch my back, please.
The stoppages are so critical now. Essendon don't want to give up an easy exit. See this hit two here on the last stoppage. Just came right out the front. Power Pepper with the quick hands to Drew there. Cannot expose your backs like that.
Ryan. Drew sharks it from Merritt. Horn Francis. Eases it into Boak.
Move out.
Georgiades provides the lead. Lead number 1 ignored.
Reversal, Essendon free kick.
Yes, the player blocked.
It was silly there.
They're a chance here if they charge quickly.
So the Bombers have an opportunity. Gresham over to Merritt and then looks inboard to Durham. They hold the football. Durham's long probing ball towards Menzies and Bergman and goes through for a behind.
Spoken about that forward handball a lot tonight. That was nearly a case of a hospital pass. There it is. Riola gave away the downfield free kick on Redmond. Can invite the pressure of that forward handball, but can also break the game up. You've got to be so careful with it.
And again, that long, deep ball not working for the Bombers. They've got to find that intermediate target.
Farrell. Centre wing. Brian's got the height. Mead.
Well done.
Does well, Brian. Pryor needs to be good. Beautifully picked up by Roberts. Now Hobbs. Here's Edwards from behind, but Draper front position. Kako, Merritt, all class. Did he get the bounce? Needed a sharp one, but banged into the bottom of the upright.
Well, that was the one, the drop of ball we're talking about. They're giving good service to forwards. They're not getting outmarked down there in this third term.
Oh. So through the middle, Mead just slips the tackle of Gresham. He's a bit weary and wounded at the moment. Burn Jones looking for Powell Pepper. Dropped it, regained it. Kick inside 50. It's wide, too wide for Georgiades. Reed with him and out.
It looks like Reed's the one that's gone to Georgiades. Has shut him out of this game. In this third quarter, been playing well, playing in front, asserting his dominance around the contest too, before the ball comes in, being really physical.
So only 2 points in it. Brian and Sweet, Horn Francis. Shield goes down in back play. Horn Francis's high ball towards the square. Georgiades is underneath of it. Can he scoop it up? He did. Got it to Burn Jones. Had a fresh airy. Berry on the line and out.
Gee, Horn Francis, he just ripped that ball out of the Essendon players' hands. Getting very busy at these forward 50 stoppages. Power Pepper will come through at a rate of knots. Straight line. You've got to be very careful how you guard this man.
3 on the clock, 2-point game. Brian and Sweet. Durham has had a great turn for the Bombers. Martin. Punching ball out of defence.
Look at Horn Francis here. He just rips that ball out of Durham's hands. It was a genuine 50-50 ball. He just wanted it a little bit more.
Ken Hinkley with plenty to think about. Closing stages of the third term. Sweet to Drew. Deflects off his boot. Ball in disputes. Umpire wants it.
They're lucky they're Essendon. Drew standing at stoppage all by himself.
We got Jordan, Nick.
It's the young buck in. Tom Cochrane waiting his chance. Shield. Just a bit of a kick and hope in the end. And it was Bergman who stole it. Kicks to the outer side to Berry. Now he directs traffic. Whilst in full flow to Georgiades. Almost hit his chest. Now the ball. They've scrapped for it. Burn Jones kept it in play. Thinks about a goal. Does more than think about it. He's put it away. He's kicked two. The light wire.
Dangerous. He's had a couple of high-quality touches in this second half already. As Darcy Byrne-Jones, it was just a searching run.
Great work, great from Joe Berry. Yeah. He worked hard to get over there and get that. And it was just this looking for Georgiades, well guarded there by Reed. You never give up on a play, do you, King? I think Essendon really thought this was going to go out. Ridley just trailing in. Made something out of nothing, and in a low-scoring affair, they're the sort of opportunities you want to take as a half-forward.
Yeah, and you just can't lose contain there as a defender. You give a couple of metres at the wrong time. It's clever play. Great work rate. Just hunting that loose ball. Made something out of nothing.
The second for DBJ. Freshieri, Bryan, Caldwell. Deep ball forward. Draper, Radigalia, halved. Good contest.
Good contest, but you've got to get it to the favoured side of your forward. If you're free coming out the front of the square like that, Essendon could have had a big play late in this quarter.
Brad Johnson, Bulldogs legend, down on the boundary. David King.
What's your move, Jono? How can you correct this forward line balance?
Move it on. Play on.
No, he's not going to help me.
Radagalia's kick. Off hands, Caldwell, Bryan, Merritt, Ridley, back to Merritt, working so hard, Caldwell, it's labour intensive, and now Port have it. Mead, Farrell's got to be fast, and it was Merritt, of course it was, who hunted him down, back in the middle, Dersma, Gresham, Merritt, here come the Bombers, Redmond blazing through the middle, kick to the top of the square, Draper, not quite, Kecko's there, he couldn't quite get a kick away. It's still there on the line and just over.
Zach Merritt, that is outstanding. He left that pack and he just hunted him down.
And the follow-up again. He was the handball receiver after the contest loss.
Kecko's got some toe, hasn't he? He had no room to move. Real will-o'-the-wisp, sweet. Less than a minute on the clock. It's been end-to-end. Radagalia's suffering physically. Pal Pepper. Georgiades holds the lead. Mackay's back on him. Lord Francis falls. He'll be under the pump in a moment if they can get it clear, but they can't.
Yeah, they're fatigued. They're out on their feet here now. All 36 of them out there are tonguing. Just the selection going inside forward 50. Just so critical to giving your forwards an opportunity.
This is where mistakes happen with fatigue as well. You've got to stay on.
So throw in, closing stages, third term. Sweet won it down. Pal Pepper hit the ball hard. The umpire is going to give a free kick for a high one, and it's going to Durham against Pal Pepper. So 20 seconds to go. A lot of blood spilt in the first three quarters. Some tired players out there at the moment.
He's the one, Durham. I think he's the one that has the potential to break this game open.
So Ricky Martin has it on the siren at three-quarter time, and what a contest we have. Stay with us, Fox Footy on a Thursday night. It's Port Adelaide by a goal. Do not touch that dial.
All right, three-quarter time, folks. We've got a ball game on our hands. Port Adelaide, 7-8-50. The Bombers, 5. Have a listen to this. 5-14. 5-14. 44 Bombers. What are you doing with all those points out there? Back to Ben. How you doing? He's going for Essendon. Addy G in the chat. G'day, young fella. What's happening? I know who you're cheering for. I'm not sure. Wait for the Freo game, I guess. But there we go. Third quarter. Port came out. It was a sort of goal for goal. Port, Bombers, Port, Bombers, Port. Here we go. 3-2. Port Adelaide. Third term. The Bombers. 2-5. What are the Bombers doing? 5-14. They're kicking so many behinds. 6 points in it. The Bombers were kicking straight. They could be in front. But tell you what, this is a ring-a-ding-ding game. This is anybody's game. I can't pick a winner here. I can't choose it. Even though I've been watching it, I can't choose a winner because it's so tight. Both ties giving it a bit of a good crack. Both defences holding up pretty well. Port Adelaide just having a little bit more luck, sneaking a few goals in there. They're doing really good. Whew, tell you what, Alia's having a pretty good game there, I must say. Goal scorers, let's just check that out. Mitch Georgiades and Darcy Boone-Jones, now the only multiple goal scorers on the ground. Of course, they are both for Port Adelaide. Ollie Wines, Joe Richards, Travis Boak are the other single goal scorers for Port Adelaide. Of course, for the Bombers, got a handful of goal scorers there. All single, of course, for Archie Roberts, Jai Menzies, Jade Gresham, Sam Draper and Nate Caddy. Who's leading the way? Well, it's still Zach Merritt on the top of the board, 28 disposals. He's having a good game, Zachy Merritt. 16 kicks, 16 handballs, 12 kicks, 5 marks, 2 tackles, a clearance. Ollie Wines stepped up his game in that third term. He's up to 23. He's leading the way for Port Adelaide. 9 kicks, 14 handballs, 3 marks, 2 tackles, 4 clearance, and he's kicked a sausage roll. So he's doing really good. Dylan Shield up to 19 there. Let's roll on down there. Kane Farrell up to 16 there for Port Adelaide. Archie Roberts on 15 there for the Bombers. Travis Boak, 14 disposals for the game, as is Joe Berry. Of course, Jason Horn-Francis, he's up to 13 disposals, so he's doing quite well. Darcy Boone-Jones, though, 13 disposals, 10 kicks. He's kicked 2 goals there for Port Adelaide, as I said. He's doing really, really well. Miss Georgiades, I don't think he's added to his tally since quarter time. Still got the 2 goals too there. Be looking for a little squeeze of a couple more goals out there in the final term there from him. Quick look at the stats. There won't be a great deal of difference between these stats because it's just such a tight game. So there we go. Just 22 plus to Port Adelaide, and of course that comes in. That is 22. What's going on there? Oh yeah, 10 kicks, 12 handballs. There we go. Inside 50s. Essendon having a few more now. They were square. It was 24. 19 inside 50s to 12 in that third term, Bombers way. But still, Essendon trail. 19 free kicks to 13. From my memory, that was 11 apiece, I think, at half time. So the Bombers seem to be getting all the favours in that third term, but not being able to capitalise. So everything pretty much similar in all the stats there. There we go. All right, let's head back down to the ground. That'll take us into the final quarter. I tell you what, this is going to be a cracking last game. Who's going to win? I still don't know. But on the poll we've got in the live chat, it's 64% saying Port Adelaide. Will that be correct? Time will tell. All right, folks, let's get back down to the ground for the final term, where it's Port Adelaide by 1 straight kick.
Just that composure with ball, when they do have that time and space around the kicker to be able to execute effectively going inside 450. It doesn't have to be laced out every time. It just has to be to the advantage, because it becomes the reference point for the smalls on the ground as well. So they've got to work on that kick going inside forward 50.
Well, I noticed, Jack, some really interesting pictures in that third quarter. Ken Hinkley laying down the law to Connor Rosie, coach to captain, saying, might be your time to shine.
Yeah, only 12 disposals so far for the captain of the Port Adelaide Football Club. And I think the alarming studies is he only had 2 kicks. So he's the line breaker. We saw in the pre-game his fancy footwork and his ability to get the ball from inside the contest to outside where there's a high level of value on it. That will be required in this last quarter, especially as the game starts to open up. Kingy's already made mention there's a lot of players fatiguing out there. This is where Connor Rosie needs to shine for mine.
2 contested possessions for the game, no clearances. I mean, that is his role and his function in this team. I'm looking from a Bombers point of view. They're right in this game. They just need a little bit of composure in the forward half of the field. And I think it's Sam Durham that can get it done. 21 disposals, a lot of those just centre forward, slightly centre forward, somewhere between that 70 to 40 from goal. 10 score involvements of his 21. He's the one that's seeing it well in the forward half. They've got to be able to lower the eyes and find these guys, sometimes on an angle, sometimes just 15 to 20 metre kicks. Durham's the one for me.
We've spoken about Aaliyah Kingy already, 8 intercepts in a game-leading stat there. Could they flip it over and send Caddy up the ground? Send Jones up the ground. I'll be playing Martin and Kako deep and just trying to expose Port Adelaide, and it sort of forces the ball carrier to go, well, I'm not kicking it to a big key, I'm actually kicking it to a small, so maybe I do start to invite the lead up a little bit more.
I don't mind the way Draper's coming out and just crashing the pack. I mean, if you're going to kick those high balls there, they have to be hitting the deck.
There's the parents of Saad El Houli. Father Omar gets his opportunity, picked up in last season's mid-year draft. And there's another debutant out on the ground as well. Tommy Cochran gets his chance. He used to play with his father, Kingy. Now he's out playing in front of you.
It's exciting. Young fella can run. I'll tell you what, there's going to be a chance out there. There's going to be some tired bodies in this last quarter.
Houli, a great story. He started at Altona, made his way through the VFL. Injury last year, he's got his debut. Horn Francis and Durham go at it in the middle. Rosie trips over them. Hobbs with the first kick, but it was smothered off the boot. Martin. Here's Caldwell's kick towards the square. Draper is going to let it go. Goes through for a point.
Enjoy Caldwell breaking 50 a lot today's. Certainly got that ability to come out and stop, which I would have loved to see him just take a few more steps there and steady and have a straight shot on goal. Looking to just get the ball on the boot, run with the football, create something.
To Wines. What a time to come on, Jack, in your AFL debut, start of the final quarter, in a 5-point game.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see if one of them can have an impact as well.
Wow. With families in the crowd, another good mark. So, Kai looks like he's back on Georgiades momentarily. Short, and here he is. Tom Cochran. Pick 13, 2024 rookie draft. Good luck in your career. Chips it down the line. Be happy to get a kick under his belt. Horn Francis, this is the explosiveness we like. Can he finish it off? Of course he can. Horn Francis with a touch of class. And Port skip away.
That's amazing. To be able to take it in stride there, super clean, and then straight and have the composure to knock it through. Been very quiet for long periods in this game, but you're just looking for moments now. They just need to find a way to win. Just pinches 3 metres on Durham, who's half asleep. Quality finish.
Can't let the ball get out the back here if you're Nick Bryan as well. See, as soon as it gets there, that's a damaging. Oh, how clean is that?
Wow. Come at the moment, Kingy.
And that's what Ken Hinkley's talking about with his leaders at the break. Connor, I need you. Jason, where are you?
Horn Francis delivers at a crucial stage, and there he is again in the middle. His handball was smothered by Merritt though. Durham works for it, and then it was chucked out of the pack by Sweet to Horn Francis. Murray's back to Wines. So Port with the ascendancy early out to Rosie. Another that Ken laid down the law to at 3/4 time. Rosie inboard to Bergman, who's had a terrific night. So Bergman's long ball towards the pockets. He's heading out towards the Cochrane direction, but too wide.
Tell us about his dad as a footballer, Kingy.
An amazing runner, a great athlete. Didn't get a lot of opportunity in his early days at the Kangaroos and made the most of it in his second club at Port Adelaide.
There he is. Stewart. Brian, sweet, dangerous area. Here he is, Houli with his first touch. He'll get a second one now. Takes a bounce. Essendon fans around him. Oh, a little bit of showtime as well. They'll like that. Drives it forward to Kako. On to Martin. Has the young man set up a goal for the Bombers? Martin! Yes, he has! Great finish. El Houli involved, and they're all around him. Omar, the brothers, the family. It's the passion of footy.
What a moment. What a moment for this young man. The family's up, and why wouldn't they be? Yeah, get excited. He's waving, cheering the crowd on. But this is terrific bravery to get the first ball, then to go again. And we said there's some tired bodies out there. Can you make the most of it? Look at the ball, the shimmy. Here we go. I'm going to kick. Oh, I'm gone. See you later, Kane. I'm out of here. And not the best of kicks, but gee, Martin made them pay.
Kako huge there.
Oh, game on.
And if you're an Essendon supporter, you look at that and you go, the first gamer, Kako involved, you're going to get out this drive run. That's confidence there.
Plenty of noise around Marvel. Early stages of the fourth quarter, and it's well and truly alive. So, I run it down. It's taken away from Shield with a second effort. Well, Francis taken the ground. Kick from Merritt. It's Gresham v Bergman. Bergman wins the football. Low ball in the Richards direction. It was spoiled by Mackay.
Who's going to run this game out? The better of the two. Is it going to be the Bombers? Is it going to be Port?
Plenty of fatigue setting in at three-quarter time. A couple of the young bucks coming on, adding some fresh legs. Sweet down to Horn Francis. He's taken high without the football and gets the free kick.
He's coming through stoppages like a freight train, Horn Francis.
Horn Francis's kick looking for Georgiades and also Cochrane. Cochrane's got the ball. What a moment. Early stages of a fourth quarter. The debutant for Port Adelaide. Talked about his father Stuart. Of course, his grandfather Richard was a hero in the Sandful as well. There's the clan. The mobile phones are out. The moment that a young player dreams about. Tommy Cochrane. I tell you what, it's not a bad effort. It's not a bad effort, but through for a behind.
Just grazed the inside of the post. Good effort.
Jason Dunstall knows that much about music, and he was reminding us all of the original Life is a Highway from the original Tommy Cochrane.
Play on.
Must have been on vinyl, that one.
Classic song. Centre wing ball, big fly behind from Jones. 6-point margin, end-to-end stuff. Caldwell, front of Wines. Crowd wanted 50. Called to go now. Here is El Hawley, front position, big fist away from the Port defenders. Redman at ground level. Pryor scoops out nicely. Draper doesn't take much time, wobbles it forward to a bevy of Port jumpers.
Just had El Hawley and the little handball there. Draper blazed away. The pressure starts to build as the clock starts to tick down. That's where the good decision makers just slow down.
So Burgoyne takes a few seconds, and that's an accurate kick to Burn Jones. Don't touch that dial. We've got a fascinating 16 minutes ahead. Moraes. Second game, he's played well.
Are they going to have the courage to pull this ball back into the corridor like they've done all night?
And Moraes gives himself a little bit of space in the Cochrane direction. No mark. Mackay goes back. The Shield over the top, Al Hooley. Inboard, he goes to Pryor. Kick in the Redmond direction. Evans goes the spoil and out.
Smooth move, Al Hooley, isn't he?
Yeah.
Out of side ball. Port by 6 at quarter time, 3 at half time, 6 at three-quarter time. That is the margin. Horn Francis and then Martin. Goals for the term. Both debutants involved, El Hawley and Cochrane. Draper with a soft tap, only as far as Wines. He completely missed the handball, could hurt them on defence. Redmond can kick a long ball, Mason Redmond. He'll get the horns out. Bombers respond with 2 in a row. And it is all square under the roof.
Got to make them pay. You've got to punish mistakes. That's what this game's about at the moment. 57 all, 7-15, 8-9. Ollie Wines just misses one here. One he's hit more often than not. It's a good finish. Wines hits the first one, sorry. It wasn't Wines. It was Evans. What a finish from outside 50. Crowd involved, Bombers alive.
Plenty of encouragement from the Bombers faithful. They're believing.
He went to get the horns on the head and someone stopped him. Gresham on the way through.
Got de-horned.
No one really won the tap. Rosie off the deck. It's Essendon through Pryor. Redmond with his heart pounding. Kicks it out to Al Hurley. The speed is on. Picks it up well. Tries to progress it to Jones. Murray's fighting hard for it. Inboard to Wines. Wines with the tunnel ball looking for Evans. Stolen by Martin. Martin back to Redmond. Back to Shield through the middle. Shield arches the shoulders. Kick inside 50. Draper! Draper's got it!
It's a great slip by Draper. Been in a lot of aerial contests, a bit closer to goal tonight.
What does he do here? Does he go around the corner?
He can't kick it 45, 50 metres around the corner. He's going back for the set shot, and Eddie Betts told us that he missed all 4 at the start of the game in the warm-up today, so not great signs in the warm-up, but he just slid a Sava Radigalea perfectly. And it's nearly a ruck move the way he was able to free himself up.
So Draper, who's kicked 1 tonight, completely different circumstances, comes in from about 48. It's going to sit up in the square and off hands. It's still in play. They didn't kill it. Jones back to Dersma, back to Martin, round the corner. It's going to... No, it's not going to score. It hits the behind posts and we're still all square.
Maybe you should have gone to snap. Big Drapes.
Alia. Tension gone up a notch. Bombers looking for their first win. They've only been 0-3. Once since 1968, the start of the season, the Bombers. A couple of years ago. Port have had a big loss and a big win. Boy going up to possession 24, going at 92 by foot. To a contest. Mackay does well, brings it to ground. Boat was looking for a free.
The Port have stopped attacking the corridor. They're playing into Essendon's hands here. They've got to be brave enough to still bite off that aggressive kick back in. They've had opportunities, but they're playing a fraction safe in this last 5 or 6 minutes.
True centre wing. Sweet and Bryan, Lockhorns again, picked up by Dersma, rides the tackle to Hobbs, gets rid of it, Shield. Back to Dersma, who's got some space. Looping handball over the top. Menzie, he has time to move as well. Darts inboard. Caddy couldn't quite grab it. Came in from the sides. But he's earned himself a free kick.
Yeah, that's the inside 50 we're looking for. Just a shallow entry, forced the forward to tick lead back at the ball. And he just couldn't quite get his bearings earlier, and it was a metre. It's only a metre. It's enough at AFL level. Chopping the arms.
Well, talking about big moments for young men, Nate Caddy hasn't set the world alight. These last 4 or 5 games, he has kicked a steadier tonight. This is such a massive kick, and it's not there. It just faded away.
Gee, it looked good too off the boot.
Solitary point.
See this last stoppage, Essendon is coming at the front, being brave with their handballs as well. Then to the caddy mark.
Georgiades gets front position, can't complete the mark. Bombers off the wing. Shield had a good night. Bit undersized, caddy. Caldwell, Hobbs, Kako, the elusive one, steps. Dishes it out to Dersma. Oh, Nate Caddy's gone check side this time. Ambitious. And another behind. His last 2 points have established that 2-point margin.
Not sure that's the play there from Nate Caddy. Just had the opportunity to maybe just stop, allow the play to open up, and a little 15-metre chip inside would have opened up.
He's peppered the sticks the last minute or so. Evans out to Moraes. And now looking for Powell Pepper, but Roberts at close quarters.
It's predictable. The Bombers know where they're going, and they're hot on the hammer of those leading outside of the corridor out wide, locking the ball in their forward half. They've 8 of the last 11 inside 50s, the Bombers. They're surging hard.
Bombers fans willing their charges as Draper wins it down. It's Hobbs up against the boundary line. Does well to keep his composure and keep the ball. Gresham, El Houli with a little sidestep, darting ball inside 50. Draper went the fist off the deck. Gresham had to be careful. Burgoyne out to Horn Francis. Little chip into the air, put Rosie under the pump, but the captain did really well. And then his kick towards half forwards. McGrath's the first there and takes the steadying mark.
Plays on immediately, speed on the ball. Mackay back to McGrath. Doesn't just feel like they've got the edge at the moment. Reid hangs it up out of defence. Great grab, Caldwell was up to the task. Splits it wide. Need the bounce. Dersman nearly lost his strides in the process. Dishes it back inboard. Ridley. Menzie with a little step. Back by hand. Caldwell looked to give up ground and saw something ahead. It's good. Kako should go, does go. Steps nicely. Kako hits 50. Unselfish centering ball to Canny. Kako, Canny. That is what Bomber fans want to see.
The kick from Caldwell was amazing. He had nothing on. He hugged the boundary line. They used composure with their hands when they were in a bit of traffic. That's the perfect play. And good to see the kids lighting it up.
And a couple of opportunities this term, Nate Caddy simply must kick it to take Essendon out to an 8-point margin. They're into Aaliyah as well. Caddy kicked the goal and got right in his face. Question was there, but Essendon are out by 8.
He looked for composure, and it all started on the wing down here in front of the bench. They were able to find that free play. It was Caldwell who started it. Just even here, like not panicking, going back to Caldwell here. This kick here, exactly right. It broke the game up. Caldwell looked in front of him, but it was Kako here who all of a sudden had the composure to not blaze away. And then you can see on the top left of the picture there the ability to get it out. Young Caddy is at his best when he is jumping at the footy like that, and a great finish under pressure from a young key forward.
Bombers with the last three. A little bit of lip service to Aaliyah as well, as Sweet wins it down from the ruck to Horn Francis, who just has a devil of a time controlling it. Eventually got it to Rosie. Boak sells the dummy. Wines, tunnel ball to Rosie. Is it a quick response from 48 metres out? No.
So the worrying signs for Port Adelaide, is the fact they are being smacked in contested possession at the moment. Inside 50s as well. It's all Essendon.
We've kicked the last 3 goals. Ridley to Zach Reid, who's played a good game. A fair bit of time on Georgiades, quelled him, Mackay.
Well, Horn Francis needs some support. He's playing a lone hand at the moment against the Bombers.
Good option, Merritt's the runner, it's another good option. Caddy's out again, he wants it in the pocket. Merritt delays it, drives it a touch deeper. Caddy was out, looks and realises it was his skipper and keeps his mouth shut.
He was out there, needed to reposition himself. Caddy sort of got to the boundary, needed to come back up again.
Aaliyah's kick very close to the boundary to Horn Francis.
Almost let out of room, didn't he, Caddy?
Horn Francis's kick. It's got to be good to Boak. It's been stolen away by Gresham, Durham, Dersma. Everything's going Essendon's way at the moment. Roberts towards Draper again. The big miss of Sam Draper, who's kicked one tonight. This one's a bit easier, directly in front from 35, David King.
Well, that's the gap in the game. They're taking on corridor, the Bombers. They're prepared to explore the middle of the ground as he turns side on. The crowd love it.
Going to sit it out like on a platter. A J kick. So the crowd responds. Some can't watch. But why not? Because the Bombers are flying at the moment. He's kicked 2. 13 points the margin. They're starting to believe.
They're playing with dare. When the young Bombers have stood up, in the forward half that gathered their composure at three-quarter time, and just simple things. A great spoil. Durham threads the handball through. They know they've got to come in. In the end, it's a high ball, but they go around Aliir. He has no play at that ball.
Playing with the ball as well, King. Essendon at their worst, you see them fumbling, but you see clean, clear decisions. Draper pushing forward, an excellent mark and a lovely finish. I wonder if this is going to catch on around the corner. He hasn't missed what he's been doing it the last 2 weeks.
Draper with his second. Bombers with the last 4 of the match. Now it's Port that need to respond. Wines, Caldwell, spills free. They're everywhere at the moment. Not quite through to Martin. Hobbs will get an opportunity. Now to Durham. A sack ball, difficult. Draper down towards Kako, the elusive one. Steps, little checks. Oh, hey! Showtime. And Dersma against his old side to make it 5 in a row and a 19-point margin.
You can see Draper there nearly turned that contest at the top of the square into a ruck tap, and then Kako, who some small forwards might turn around and try and hook that over the shoulder for a goal or have a shot on goal, just steadied up. Cute little check side, 15 metres. This buys time off the clock, but it also gives them a mark inside 50.
Does he kick it against his old side? Does he pull out the bow and arrow? Dersma, questions to be answered. Emphatically in the negative. Draper nearly got it on the chest. Sin under the pump. We've seen some unusual set shots tonight.
So who gets on the move here? Is it Kako, the young star?
So from the ruck, Burgoyne tries to go himself, taken by Jones, locked up.
Can't get overzealous here if you Port Adelaide as well.
Sweet and Draper. Draper tries to catch it out, unopposed. Comes out the side to Durham, who's been good. Darting handball to Hobbs. Back to Ridley. Ridley, it's touched off the boot. It's straight up in the air. Draper, Kalash. Coming through was Jones. Draper, he's slow to pick himself up. Another stoppage. So he's okay to contest. Sweet won it down towards Gresham. Well, Francis in there. Rosie, just a dinky little kick to get it out. Martin picked it up against the boundary line. He's taken by young Moraes and out of play.
Well, they've been hammered in the last quarter. A contested possession, Port Adelaide. Their midfield, they need to respond. As I said a moment ago, in this 4th term, it's been Horn Francis or bust. Need the captain to lift here.
Horn Francis with the opener of the term. Bombers with the next 4. They're out to their game high lead, 13 points. Merritt, clever hand pass. Saw what he was thinking, didn't quite.
Durham sitting on the ground at the moment, potentially injured, but he's the one. He's a battering ram in the air. We just saw before coming back with a flight. He's just hitting every stoppage hard.
Bomber fans are up. They've been at school, they've been at work, they've been getting caned by their mates. Can their team lift and get their first win of the season? Go to work Monday, proud as punch. Burgoyne to the wing. Bryant takes a steadying mark. Just says, I'm going to calm things down a bit.
Go backwards here. Just get the class users involved. Take your time.
Gives ground. Here's Redmond. Comes to the wing and Mackay on the logo. Mackay's kick. Low ball to Dersma.
Don't need to be in a rush here if you're Essendon. Control the ball. Especially late in the game. No players are tired. Make Port Adelaide defend.
So Roberts has a couple of options. Heads towards Kako, couldn't mark it. Caldwell to the side. Merritt. Centering ball. Bergman read it better. He's had a terrific game tonight. And kicks wide outside D50.
They have to go. Georgiades loses his feet. El Hooley doesn't. The Bomber fans are all about the debutant.
Well, they're 13 points down. They have to attack the corridor now, Port. They have to take all sorts of risks. Bombers are playing this perfectly. Lock the ball in the forward half. Loose men behind the ball.
Rosie's in there. Horn Francis. Wines, the big gun, Sweet. Looks for one of them. Bombers stand up. Scooped out.
Starts with Sammy Draper here as well. Don't let them hit the ball out wide. Don't let them hit it to the corridor. Just keep it nice and tight. Take time off the clock.
Sweet into the contest. Rosie's got nowhere to go. Goes back to the young man in game 2. Good result, Essendon. Soaked up another 15 seconds.
Your midfield positioning as well. Make sure you take back shoulder. Protect the dangerous space. Keep it in tight. Take time off the clock. Every stoppage counts for Essendon right now.
So, Port Adelaide needing to play with some urgency now. Through the fingertips of Draper. Gresham's there with El-Houli. Wines, quick kick to Rioli. Plays on to Horne-Francis. Boak with a long dumping ball towards the top of the square. Georgiades needs to take the mark. Couldn't quite grab hold of it. He gets the football though, and he was disposed of, and it's going to be a free kick for holding the football. Everything going right for Essendon. Pryor in a bit of trouble at the side of the pack.
Had some good moments, Brian, tonight. He's shown some signs. Two-ruck system working for the Bombers tonight.
Reed's had his moments as well. Looks like Bomber fans. Draper kicked 2 goals. Here is El-Houli. Takes a bounce. Sprints away. Could take the second. Wobbles it forward. Coming back with a flight. Still going to be under pressure. Gets away from Kako. They need to go now, Port. Excellent stuff by Merritt. Terzo back to El-Houli. Roberts takes a bit of time off at Dersma. He's taken down after the footy. So it'll be downfield. Redmond will be happy to soak up some more time.
Get back in. Come back on. Stand.
Nearly there, the Bombers. 13 points to the good. 3 on the clock.
Needing a knockout blow. Redmond to Caldwell. He's been consistent as always, Caldwell. Pops it up. Draper in from the side. No mark and through for a behind. So it's to 14 points, 2:41 left on the clock.
They've got a set play and they're just going to bomb it down the middle. And not messing around. Burgoyne does just that. Radigalia needs to stand up. Here's Bergman, releases by hand. Jetting now for Port. The Bombers stand up again. Redmond. Brilliant to Dersma. Been good in the last 5 minutes, Mason Redmond.
He's read it well. He's actually read the situation well. That last kick to Caldwell as well prior to this one. All these seconds are precious.
Bomber fans starting to believe. Dersma takes a bounce, gets away from Farrell, sends it deep. Gresham is outside. Delia goes the one paw. Brings it back to Wines.
We'll have to go corridor now. Boak. And now the young man in Moraes. With the urgency to Rosie. Has to be quick. Was hoping for Boak, but he went without it. Roberts cleverly off the ground. Grabbed by Bergman. Long piercing ball back to the Moraes direction. Has Powell Pepper running for him. Takes on Merritt. Do it at your own peril. Over the top to Moraes inside 50. Rioli has the football. 1:36 left on the clock and ticking. No real options. Has to go back and kick it, kicking.
Has to go quickly. Has to go quickly. Time's the enemy here.
So that clock just continues to tick as Rioli comes in. That's his assignment, and it's going to miss.
They've stood up late, Essendon, especially in this last quarter. Been really strong. They've been composed. They've been clean. It's been the difference between the two football clubs.
Bomber fans would still like to see one more chain of possession before they start celebrating on the couch. Caddy spills free. Mead by hand. Back to Mead. They've got to get inside 50 and it's got to be in a hurry. Boak bursts. Drives it. Horne-Francis nearly almost has to play on and kick the goal. He sprints back off the mark. Clock continues to tick. Kicked a brilliant goal to start the term. Doesn't mess around here. Horne-Francis socks up. Jumper in. Something for Port Adelaide. Not there. Not there.
So a neat 2 goals. Crowd loving every minute of it as Redmond's kick outside 50. Draper and Caddy up the ground. They know they have to put the pressure on here with Port trying to come at them late. But with 10 seconds to go, it's going to be the Bombers with such a hard-fought victory tonight. Crying down towards Shield. It's on the ground, Mead over the top, but it's all academic. Berry trying to run away with it, winds off the ground. McGrath with the football, it's over, and it's been a week from hell for the Bombers, but they're on the board in 2025, and don't they love it? To win the greatness our boys who play this kind of game are always striving for glory and fame. See the Bombers fly up, the other teams they don't fear. They'll try their best, but they can't get near as the Bombers fly up.
Caught by 6 at quarter time, 3 at half time. They led by 6 at 3/4 time. Horn Francis extended the lead with the opener of the final term. Martin, Redmond, Caddy is second, Draper is second. They kicked the last 4. And the Bombers with the first win of the season by 12 points, Jack Rewalt. It started with pressure and they held their nerve, the Bombers.
Yeah, they certainly did put pressure on in the face of Port Adelaide in that first quarter, and they just were the fitter team in the second half, especially in that last quarter. Xavier Dersma, 12 possessions in that last quarter. And the super sub, our boy El Howley came on, had 7 possessions. A few running bounces and a bit of sizzle there, Howie as well. Exactly what they needed. That young man, Nate Caddy, kicked a really important goal. Isaac Capo had a couple of big moments as well. It was a big win, Howie.
Bombers are on the board, Eddie Betts.
Yeah, guys, I'm down here with Big Drake, mate. How you feeling?
Oh, man, on top of the world right now. It was a tough week last week, but so happy we bounced back.
And how was the week? Yeah, you're saying it was tough. There's a lot of pressure on you guys. There's a lot of stuff in the media about you guys not performing. How has the week been?
Yeah, it just so wasn't like us, the way we performed. And I think tonight we got a piece of our identity back, and really proud of how it responded. Sometimes it's good having a 5-day turnaround. You don't have to dwell on it as much. You just get out there and perform. So pretty happy now.
And you must be pretty proud of your skipper. The way he's led from the start, from round 1, 2 and 3, he's led the way. You know, you haven't won the first 2 games, but the way he played tonight was special.
Yeah, Zach, he's amazing. He just leads by example, just gets it done, and it just makes us boys so inspired by him. So we love playing with him.
And the AFL world wants to know, mate, what's the hold when you're standing in front? Do you get nervous kicking a drop punt, or just routine now?
No, it's just a routine. I worked really hard this summer and knowing what to do in the right situation. I still back my drop punt in, but on those angles, I know there's less room for error when I snap the ball, and it looks a bit weird and it makes the crowd go a bit wild, but I'm liking it so far.
Jack Rewalt upstairs, mate. Keep doing it. You haven't missed one yet. So well done, mate. Congratulations.
Heart and soul, isn't he, Sam Draper?
Yeah, he is. Speaks about on those angles. He's standing directly in front. There's no angle when you're 15 metres out, but certainly he's found something that works for him. You're right, heart and soul. I think when Essendon are a better side when he is playing well, when he's playing with confidence, and they certainly played with confidence tonight.
Jono.
With Dylan Shield, who had an outstanding game himself, 25 disposals right through the midfield. But that was a big response by the club tonight. Pressure has been on. Coach has spoken throughout the week. Captain had to stand up as well and have a chat to the media throughout the week, and the players responded tonight.
Yeah, it's an outstanding response by the group, and we've certainly got a lot of heart at the footy club, and unfortunately sometimes we let it get to the stage that we did last week, and we don't want to be repeating that too often, but yeah, super proud of the response, and we really had to earn it tonight. They're a tough team, Paul.
What was the communication from the coach and the leaders to the younger players tonight? Because they stood up in the last quarter, but the lead in to be able to get a performance like this.
Oh, it's just that max effort from the very start. We know what Port can bring to the table. They're a huge offensive threat. So we didn't want to be passive and sitting back. We had to hit it head on, and yeah, super proud that we had some young legs that were really running out the game really well. Like Sardi, obviously coming on as a sub, had some massive moments. He's certainly got some wheels to cover the ground.
He ignited the crowd in that last quarter with his first run.
Yeah, he's pretty special. Yeah, so looking forward to watching him develop.
What about your skipper as well? He stood up for the whole entire season. He was strong again tonight. He really is leading from the front.
Yeah, he's epitomises consistency, Zach. So you watch him how he goes about his career. It's no surprise the outcomes he gets at game day. So if we could all be a little bit more like him, we'll be a much better team.
Important, and now plenty to think about with a 9-day break.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to enjoy it. I'm feeling it after tonight. It was really hot out there, so we'll review the game really hard. Of course, we always need to improve regardless of the outcome. So we'll regroup and rest and get ready for Melbourne and Adelaide.
And most importantly, Shirley, everyone here and all the fans at home, they go home with a smile on their face tonight, don't they?
Yeah, we're really passionate supporters, and they certainly come to the game and they really live the outcome with us. So we're really feeling it through the week with them, and glad that we could make them proud tonight.
Well done, great performance.
Thanks, John.
Thanks to Brad Johnson down there with Dylan Shield. Bomber fans with massive smiles on their face. Probably a good time to introduce once again for this evening, Sarah Jones.
Thank you very much, Mark Howard. So the Bombers show a bit of grit and determination when the game was on the line to prevail against Port Adelaide and register their first win for the season after a hellish week. But I think Jason Dunstall, David King and Joey Montagna, the thing Bombers fans will take away from this was some exciting glimpses from Generation Next that maybe hint that there's some talent to work with.
Yeah, there were. I think that was the icing on the cake. You hit the nail on the head there. Grit and determination. This is one team that wanted the game more than the other, prepared to work hard, prepared to win that contested footy, and they got the result that they actually desired. So I think they thoroughly deserved it, and they'd be really happy with what transpired, particularly in that last quarter.
Yeah, summed up. And they had a bit more run, and they had a bit more dare, and they had a bit more desire to want the win. Port Adelaide just played safe, and they'll be disappointed. Both teams, for the majority of the game, looked like they lacked real threats in the forward half, and that's why nobody could really sort of punish and put any scoreboard pressure on. But in the end, it just came down to Essendon's will, and full credit to them. It was the week from hell. They knew it. They knew they needed to respond, and the way they dug in late. I'm glad for them. They get some relief and respite, and then they butter up and go again next week.
So much to discuss in our post-game show here on Thursday Night Footy on Fox, which of course is brought to you by the new Ranger plug-in hybrid. We're going to have a look at all the highlights of the match, which did include some of the debutants. And what a moment we saw in that final quarter from Al Hooley, and he's enjoying every minute of his debut performance, and that leader on screen, Zach Merritt. He'll sleep a bit better tonight, James.
He will. Look, he worked hard again, but the game of Al Hooley was fantastic when he came on. His ability to take the game on, he's got genuine leg speed, which is a great weapon to have, and he looks like he's got some tricks, good evasive skills, and he made some good decisions. So I think that was really exciting.
Their youngsters were fantastic tonight. You've got to have a lot of trust now going forward to play Edwards, to play obviously Kako will play. Roberts, I thought, was terrific tonight. Reid to go on the man who was out of control in Georgiades and get the job done under a bit of pressure down there. We talk a lot about Caddy. I thought Brian was terrific in moments in the ruck, Joey. So it's a big win with the summer contributors they had tonight.
Let's head inside the rooms for the song. Brilliant scenes in the Bombers' rooms and relief, no doubt, right amongst the playing group and I'm sure the coaches' box. They were under the pump all week and it wasn't a pretty game. It certainly wasn't a spectacle that I want to remember. But at the end of the day, Joey, they've secured the 4 points and have just shown that they've got that toughness that's required.
Yeah, that's right. That's all their fans wanted to see tonight. And we know, this week-to-week cycle, things can change pretty quickly in 1 week. But while a lot of the emphasis will be on some of the kids, particularly what they did in the fourth quarter, I think we should give credit to the leaders because we put it on some of the leaders. We're not talking about Zach Merritt. We know what he delivers week in, week out. But I thought Redmond's game, I thought Caldwell and Durham, stepped up tonight and played terrific footy. So Draper had some influence well. So the leaders for Essendon had their moments and led the way for the youngsters to shine late.
Dylan Shield, probably another one that had copped a lot of heat and was able to stand up. But you seen a bit of a different role tonight. Was definitely in the midfield for more than what he was last week.
Yeah, the way that the team was picked with Ridley coming back into the side, they could afford to move Shield out of half-back, and he looked much better. He's better when he's kicking the ball inside 50 and using his legs to penetrate. So I thought his first three quarters in particular were excellent.
We're going to have a look at some of our quarter 4 highlights, which is mostly dominated by the Bombers. And these highlights, I suppose, Jason, are the reason that they were able to prevail.
Well, they are. We saw this little glimpse of skill from Horn Francis, but they were too few and far between tonight from Port Adelaide's perspective. But this is the excitement. Look at this young man getting involved. The give and get, and then he's off. Good leg speed, the confidence to have a bounce. Just ran around there. Probably should have given the hand pass at the end, but still, what it did do was lead to a team lifting goal. And then for Martin to finish it off, that was an incredibly important kick, because that's where you feed off the young kid coming out and doing something really good. You saw the players run from everywhere. The crowd went berserk. You had 18 Essendon players mobbing each other, and then it just built from there. They had momentum, and they were never going to get stopped. In actual fact, I know it was only a couple of goals different, but they controlled that last quarter.
Yeah, we set up here. We're sitting here. You could just see that really Port Adelaide started tiring and having to do a lot of work. Essendon still had energy, so Al Hooley brought a lot of energy. Kako still had energy in the fourth quarter, and great to see he and Caddy step up late, and they really did control it. So it was a really gutsy win. Port Adelaide, as we said, just didn't have enough winners to go with the Essendon midfield tonight, Giggy.
Just too
really
tough.
like Rosie and Horn France. I mean, Wines is okay, but really, I think they'll be disappointed with some of their star players that they didn't probably have the impact they would have thought.
Bombers just too tough in the middle. That fourth quarter, that was a mauling. It really was. They just had too many numbers in the end that kept on turning up and giving their best for the cause.
We're going to head down into the Essendon rooms where their superstar skipper, Zach Merritt, I believe, is watching these highlights, and a great shot of him on the siren and the sheer jubilation. And I'm sure, Zach, was it relief when you heard that final siren after the week you've had?
Not only the week we've had, but I think the work we've been putting in, behind closed doors. Last week wasn't a great representation, clearly, but I think it's been a bit of an anomaly. I think we've been number 2 for pressure differential the last 18 months. So that was, I wouldn't call it a mulligan, but it was something that probably was out of character, and we wanted to get back to our DNA and identity as a team and put pressure on the footy and give ourselves a chance to defend the ball first and foremost, and then win the ball and go forward when we get a chance.
The word rebuilding was thrown around a lot this week by various people. How do you block that out as a player and just go out and try and perform and do the simple thing in terms of winning when there's so much speculation about the future and the future of the list?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the industry we're in at the moment. It's very reactive week by week. We can only control what we can control the behaviours, and everyone in the media can only judge on outcomes and what they see on game day. So it's fair enough for them to question certain things when we perform like we did last week. But internally, we feel like we've got capability all across the ground when we're playing at our best. And we know that if we drop by 5 or 10%, we get exposed. So I think it's a very even competition. It's easy to swing week by week. We've seen most teams, if not all teams, go through those phases week by week. And, see Collingwood after round 1. Port round 1, us round 2, it's going to happen at certain times. For us, it's about trying to be level and calm and keep trying to build habits that are going to give us our best chance moving forward.
Zach, we were just talking about some of the young players that have come into the lineup. El Hooley, the lift that he gave when he came on. Caddy kicking a couple of goals. And even Kako, he mightn't have had a big statistical game or hit the scoreboard, but did some really important things. That must give you as a leader real pleasure seeing the development from underneath.
Yeah, I mean, not to be a fan out there, but when you see young players or early games in players start to do things like, when Sadi came on, to see him run through the corridor, my legs were pretty heavy at that stage. I was excited to see him run through the corridor and put on a bit of a show. But yeah, I think Kaki and Caddy are two guys that are going to be excitement machines for our footy club moving forward, and trying to get games into those guys and teach them really good habits early on is going to hold them in good stead. But Kako, he's a very special talent. He's going to take the best defender probably most weeks in his 3rd or 4th game, which is quite amazing. But his pressure around the footy, and I think teams are going to start to feel pressure when he's around the footy with his pressure. It's amazing. Then obviously his goal now is also really special.
Mate, we know you run yourself into the ground every week. When El Hooley got involved in that passage and it ended up in the goal being kicked, the players went and mobbed him. You just about struggled to get there. You only just got there, I reckon, the last couple of steps. You were weighing up, do I just go back into the middle, but I've got to get over to the young fella.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see the treadmill in the middle of the ground, but I was certainly on it. And then I was, thinking, do I get the extra 25 metres on the GPS or just wait? But no, it was a special run for him. We see it at training a lot. I think he's been too good in VFL level for a number of years now, and we're really excited to see him get an opportunity tonight. No doubt he'll be pressuring for a full game really soon.
Zach, we're just watching it now, so you can relive the moment and perhaps talk us through what you're thinking at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, Marto's probably our best finisher on the run, so I thought it was in pretty good hands. But as I said before, to see that chain have Sard, Kako, Martin and Durham involved, they're four of our players that we think are going to have a really big future at our footy club. And to see those four link up and kick that crucial goal was really pleasing.
Mitch Georgiades out of control the first half of this game. He's taken Mackay to the cleaners. He's had a little bit of a hit out with Ridley, and then obviously Reid gets the opportunity. He's only played a dozen games of footy. He was huge in that second half.
Yeah, I mean, Georgiades, he started the game electric, didn't he? His hands are so clean. For probably a medium to tall, he really clunked him early. And now we have enormous confidence in Zach Reid. His body obviously hasn't sort of given him the best opportunity the last 3 or 4 years, but we see enormous potential in him. And he's still building, I think. He probably needs to still put on a few more kilos to consistently perform and challenge those really big boys. But his ability to read the ball and the composure for a young fella and a guy that's only played 10 or 15 games is enormous. And he's only going to get better and better. I think Ridley out there probably helped him a bit more this week than last week when the ball was flowing inside 50 against their 3 tolls. But to stand up late was really pleasing. And Nick Bryan, I thought, also was really big, behind the ball a fair bit throughout the night, giving us some cover as well.
Some of the individuals, Zach, were big in the second half, and you'd be pleased with the performance. But take us into the half-time, what the message was from Brad Scott, because we're watching the game. That second quarter, as you know, was basically circle work. It was up and back, and everyone was out on their feet, and no one could really execute inside 50. What was the message, and what did you take into the second half to get the win?
Yeah, we definitely spoke about our ability to make them defend. I felt like it was a bit of circle work like pre-season when you're trying to get the GPS numbers up there in that second quarter, no stoppages. So want to try and own the footy a little bit more where possible. We started to win the contest, but half-time made sure I brought the boys in to focus back on the contest and defence first. I think last week we got caught out running forward and trying to expose them, and they exposed us the other way. So I really wanted to focus on contest first and being up in the game and defending, and that would give us our best chance to attack the other way, and I thought we did that quite well in the second half.
Zach, just want to talk about the difference between winning and losing. You lose, you go 0-3, the whole world's caving in, you've been under the pump, you know how brutal fans and the media and everybody else can be, but you have a good win. Can you explain to those of us out here and the people watching at home the mental fatigue and the toll that it can take when you're having a bad run and it feels like the world's closing in on you?
Yeah, I was very fortunate a couple of years ago to sit down with Lee Matthews for a coffee, and he gave me a million nuggets of gold. But I think the biggest one he gave me was was around that there's a physical fatigue and a mental fatigue to play AFL footy over a long period of time, but everyone forgets about the emotional fatigue. And obviously a guy that won, I think, 3 every 4 weeks across 30 or 40 years of footy as a player and coach. But I think that emotional fatigue is really difficult. You're staring down the barrel of 0-3 in a 16-day break into gather round, so you're going to have a long time to stew over that loss again. So to get a win, obviously you bounce back, you recover now, you get ready to get stuck into training. But I think when you're 0-2 and 0-3, you start thinking of the Hawks were 0-5 last year, and then you're trying to spin that positivity in your own brain to get motivated and really drive into training and try and get better every day. But I thought the boys responded off the back of a really poor game last week really well.
Zach, thanks so much for joining us on Fox Footy. I know that you're a massive footy head and you've just said a great fan of the great Lee Matthews. Just to let you know, he'll be on the couch on Monday night, so you can sit back, relax and enjoy maybe some good edits of some Essendon play tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy the break before gather round.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Right on, mate.
Make prettier viewing this week, won't it?
As well as a leader, I like whenever everything's considered, everything has a purpose, what he says, and he leads by example. He's a fantastic leader.
And I think a lot of modern day players think it's cool perhaps to say, I don't watch any football, or I'm not that invested in the game outside of what I play. He makes no secret of the fact that he loves the game. What he said on 360 during the week about his decision leading up to his contract signing, he watches other players. I think Lockie Neal's one that he really tries to shadow, and he learns. He's a student of the game, and hats off to him.
Yeah, it was a great insight, and I love that. I don't think there's enough players that really study opposition or study other players and watch enough. So great to see Zach Merritt. He's leading from the front, not just the way he speaks. Some of his efforts tonight, the tackle in the middle of the ground, a fist in there late, the defensive acts that he speaks about, and he speaks so well about, he backed it up tonight.
Let's have a look at some of the facts and figures, the stats that really show how the Bombers got it done. A bit of a blitz in that fourth quarter. Contested possessions, Kingy, that's where it was won.
Oh, it was.
just the spread of contributors. If you're looking at 2+ contested possessions in the fourth quarter for individual players, Port had 5, Essendon had 11. They just had too many, and a lot of them were the young guys, full of energy, swarming to the footy, outnumbering. I thought they'd be out on their feet, but it was actually the reverse. They got a lot of belief. The crowd gets behind them, and it fuels the fire. I just thought they were excellent late. We haven't sort of seen this. We've seen it in fits and starts. The challenge now is to do this on a consistent basis.
Yeah, and then look, we don't know if they're capable of doing that, Kingy. But what they have done is they've risen to the challenge tonight. They've done what they needed to do to keep everyone at bay, because everyone was coming for them, whether you had high expectations of them or not. The football world loves to kick people while they're down, don't they? It's just the nature of the beast. We pump them up, and then when it's ready to go the other way, everyone's happy to do that as well. So for them to come out under that pressure, and it was interesting hearing Zach Merritt talk about the mental fatigue. I think we underestimate what that's like at times. So they got the job done, and they can be pretty proud of their efforts, I think.
They were quite adventurous late using the corridor, Kingy in particular, but Port didn't. They were not taking that avenue at all.
Which was strange, Joey, because in the early part of this game, they were slicing through the corridor. Both teams really playing at will, and I felt they went a little bit safe, a little bit early when the game was demanding one of their leaders to stand up and bite off a kick that maybe the youngsters weren't prepared to have a look at. There it is there in the middle. You've got an opportunity. It's only 3 or 4 metres, but that's enough at AFL level to honour that target.
Yeah, they looked flat both physically and mentally in the fourth quarter. It was like they were overwhelmed by Essendon. So not only did they have no run, there wasn't anyone, as you just said, and during the call you were saying it, no one was really prepared to bite anything off, to take a risk to win the game. Even late Bergman took an intercept mark, and he could have tucked it under the arm and run. He didn't quite. So, yeah, they just lacked missed an opportunity, missed a trick to try and give themselves a chance to pitch the game late.
As soon as you become straight line against the Bombers, you had to go through Redmond, who was absolutely outstanding. Reid was very good in his one-on-one, and they just shut them down. Mackay had some moments late. Did have a great night, had some moments late.
Let's head back down into the rooms, because we have Brad Johnson has tracked down one of the superstar youngsters for the Bombers, Isaac Kako.
Well, Isaac, you've sung this song many a times when the Bombers have had a win, but this is the first time live in the circle. How'd you find it?
Yeah, it's pretty special. Got drowned in Gatorade, so pretty wet now. But yeah, credit to all the boys. Finally got after it and got a win, and yeah, it's so special to me.
It really was a credit to the younger guys. We talk about the leaders of the group, at where the club's at the moment, and where the season has gone. But tonight, in that last quarter, it was yourself, it was Caddy. I know Saad Al Houli is mature, but also inexperienced with his first game. You guys were the ones that stood up.
Well, yeah, credit to the boys. We've got a pretty young group. So yeah, for all of us boys to step up and finally get a win on the board, and especially inject that spark in the last quarter. From Sadi, came onto the ground. Credit to him. Had a great surge of energy, and yeah, obviously I'm just doing what the team needs, and finally worked out. So yeah,
it certainly did. You must be proud though of the week. I know as a younger player you can sort of you can shelter yourself a little bit from it all, but when it comes down to pressure and performance, and you stood up tonight.
Yeah, I think the boys, we sort of dropped off a bit last week with the pressure, myself included. So yeah, my real focus this week was to really get after them and put them under the pump, and credit to the rest of the boys as well. They did the same, and yeah, we got after them and they were under the pump, so yeah, it was good.
How have you found the first part of the season so far? A pre-season leading into getting yourself in the senior team straight away.
Yeah, the pre-season was definitely tough. I had a heap of stuff to learn, and I'm still learning. We had a tough first couple of weeks. So yeah, the boys took in everything Scotty said and went out there today and got a win. So yeah, credit to all the boys, all the work they put in through the pre-season, these first 2 games, and yeah.
Feels pretty good to walk away with a smile on your face, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's better than losing. So yeah, so happy with it.
Well done, Isaac. You played so well in that last quarter, and you're able to help get the team over the line. Well done on your performance.
Thank you. Thanks, heaps. Thanks, guys.
Well done, mate. Good stuff.
Bomber fans are going to love Isaac Kako. I think what a young star he is. Let's switch our attention to Port Adelaide for a moment. Jace, what will be the post-mortem of this one?
Yeah, it's a bit of a concern at the moment that if Connor Rozee doesn't dominate, they genuinely struggle. It took Horn Francis a long time to get into the game. His last quarter was probably his best. But they just didn't have a midfield presence at all. They got completely outplayed. They didn't have that run. They looked like they'd run out of legs, which Joey was talking about before in King, when they couldn't use the corridor at the end because they didn't have anyone creating options. So it was a concern for me that if he doesn't dominate, where's the push going to come from a Port Adelaide perspective. I think they need him playing well. They need Horn Francis playing well. They need Butters back. They need to have a dominant midfield because whilst Georgiada's played well up forward, I think they've got some problems up forward. So they need that midfield controlling the ball and also hitting the scoreboard.
Yeah, obviously when it wasn't Georgiades, they really lacked any other threats, didn't they, tonight? That's the way it looked. And as you said, without Butters, they just missed a couple more tricks in the midfield, I thought. And Alir best game for a while. Held up, the defence there. But just as we said earlier, didn't have enough soldiers come with him.
All right, it's time now to have a look at our KFC FLG moment of the match. And Kingy, I think it was you that isolated this during the call. Zach Reid and his courage under fire here for a guy whose body has really done him a disservice in the early parts of his career. To just throw himself at the contest with great courage was fabulous.
Yeah, and what you don't see there, Jace, is just before that vision starts, he had to look back to see what was coming. He knew what was coming, it wasn't pretty, and he still went.
But it's actually smart to have a look, to try and work out what do I have to prepare myself for. And he did it really well. Nearly poleaxed himself, nearly drove his head into the turf when it came down. But it was good to see him grow because, we were critical at times last week. It was a bloody tough day to play down back for the Bombers last week, and he got exposed a number of times. But when you've played a dozen games, you've got so much to learn. That's not a bad start.
Well, the game might be over, but things are just heating up here on the panel. We're going to have press conferences from both coaches a little later. We're going to have some Wreck-It Ralph. But most importantly, the Chiefs Trivia Night is back. And we're all fired up.
You're watching Thursday Night Footy on Fox.
All right, folks, there we go. What a ring-a-ding-ding finish. It was the Bombers full of rain in that final quarter. They outran Port Adelaide 9-18-72. The Bombers, Port Adelaide 8-12-60. Final quarter, 4 goals to the Bombers. And, of course, Port Adelaide could only manage 1 goal for. They just looked a little bit tired in the later stages of the game there, did Port Adelaide. And they'll go away and take the long trip home with a tail between their legs. Not looking good for their season so far. But the Bombers, they needed that win because they were absolutely under pressure. Under pressure. Let me have a little bit of a look and see if this ladder's loaded up, and I'll show you where the ladder is ended up. There it is. I'll bring the ladder over. And, of course, we did have that poll. We did have the poll going. And, of course, tonight we didn't get the poll right. We had 58% go for Port Adelaide. There we go. There is the ladder at the moment. And, of course, Essendon and Port Adelaide, 11 and 12. Essendon and Port Adelaide both played 3 games, both with 1 game apiece. Lucky for Essendon because they would have gone 3-0. I'll tell you what, the Wolves would have been out for the Bombers. So luckily, they escape another week and they put a great win on the board today, a good fighting win today. They gave it their all. That is the ladder where they sit. Don't forget, tomorrow night, folks, the next game coming up tomorrow night, 7:40 p.m. Melbourne time. That's Carlton taking on the Western Bulldogs back at Marvel Stadium. That should be a great game between two good sides who are performing reasonably well this season. Should be a cracking game. As I said, that's 7:40 tomorrow night, Melbourne time. Carlton taking on the Western Bulldogs. Friday night football. That should be a fantastic game. The other games to conclude for round 3, of course, Saturday you got Melbourne taking on the Gold Coast Suns at the MCG. You got St Kilda taking on Richmond at Marvel Stadium. That'll be a good game. Richmond had a great win in their first round, but have failed since. Hawthorn, GWS, Saturday evening. Wowee, that's going to be a cracking game. And of course, at the same time, 7:35 p.m. Melbourne time Saturday, Brisbane Lions taking on Geelong at the Gabba. That's going to be a fantastic game. Both teams are playing really, really well. Sunday, we've got 3:20 match, and that is Adelaide on North Melbourne. And of course, to round out the week, round 3 games, we've got West Coast Eagles taking on the Fremantle Dockers. Sunday, 6:10 p.m. Melbourne time. And of course, the 2 teams with the bye in round 3 are Collingwood and Sydney Swans. That's the games coming up for the good folks out there. We'll certainly cover the game tomorrow night, which should be an absolute ripper of a game. Carlton and the Western Bulldogs. 7:40 p.m. tomorrow night. It's going to be a cracker, folks. So stay tuned for that one. Hopefully we'll see everyone for that game. But a great game here today, exciting game. It was a tough old scrappy bit of a game today. No one really broke the game open, although the Bombers, they did well. Trailing by 6 points going into the final term. Ended up winning by 2 goals. They did very, very well. Well done to Essendon. Commiserations to the Port Adelaide Power. But it was all the Bombers today. All right, folks, that's all I've got for you this time around. I'll say ciao for now. I'll leave the board up for a few minutes for anyone who wants to just come in and have a look at the scores. Check out the Worm. As you can see, the Bombers here in the opening term were in the lead, and then of course it was all Port Adelaide in the second, third, and halfway through the fourth term. But the Bombers, they just came back too strong, defeating Port Adelaide this evening from Marvel Stadium. All right, folks, that's it. I will see everyone tomorrow night. Thanks again. Ciao for now.